All right, welcome into a Monday edition of Off the Bench. That is our brand new permanent intro for anyone wondering. Landra Villarreal, our audio producer, decided she wanted to put that together. And since Jake and T-Bob are not here to dampen the mood, that's what we're going to play. And guys, we're going to play it every single hour of every single day, all 5 days. So get ready. Taylor Sharp here with you, here on Off the Bench, in for a vacationing Jacob Hester and T-Bob Hebert. Jake is on a cruise right now, probably eating like semi-healthy, about as unhealthy as he's ever going to eat. T-Bob partying right now, whether it's with Jim Rome or his own family out there in Disney World. He's partying at the House of Mouse. Like I mentioned, Landra Villarreal here, Cassie Spazzali as well. Look, we got a ton to cover. A ton went down this weekend. LSU baseball, men's and women's basketball was in action. Softball with another impressive weekend. But before we do that, let's kind of recap our weekend a little bit. Landra, how are you doing this morning?
I'm doing all right. Finally recovered because whenever I got back from New York, I went straight to work and it got very busy very quickly. So Saturday, I kind of recovered a little bit. Did the baseball game yesterday. So yeah, chill, kind of cold weekend.
I know someone that partied this weekend.
You partied?
Miss Cassie Spazzali, how was your weekend down there in the Big Easy?
Oh, you went Mardi Gras?
Pretty good. Yeah, my family, we live in Metairie, so we went to all like the Uptown parades. So it was very nice.
Fun.
My aunt came in town from Houston, so I got to see her and the cousins. So it was nice. We had a blast, but I'm exhausted.
How hard you party? Be honest with us.
Oh,
It's a safe
I
space.
only had like one drink yesterday. I didn't really party hard. I was with my
I believe it.
family.
Saturday's the day,
I don't
though.
really
Saturday's the day. Yesterday, you knew you had to wake up early and come into work.
I did,
I get
and
that.
I had to
How
drive
was
back
Saturday?
to Baton Rouge. So it was rough. But like I was with my family, and like I didn't really need to party.
That's
was
when I
just
really
chilling.
let loose. That's when I like really is when I'm with my family. Because that's when I'm like comfortable, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh, no, my parents don't drink, so like I
Oh.
don't necessarily.
So
like,
mine don't
party
either.
around them.
Guys, on Saturday, yesterday,
Well, we're
I didn't-
Mexican, so.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yesterday was a chill day for me. I did not leave the house intentionally because let me explain to you guys what my weekend as a whole included. So I was in a wedding, and when I say I was in a wedding, I was the best man in a wedding on Saturday. I played golf. I have never played a full 18-hole golf course in my life. I played City Park twice, which is a 9-hole, about 3 years ago. That is the extent of my golf knowledge. Friday night, we're at the rehearsal dinner. My buddy was getting married. He was the only one in our group that was a golfer. And he goes, "Hey guys, remember we got an early tee time in the morning." I'm like, "Okay, well what time?" 7 a.m. So that was
That's
fun. I'm
crazy.
like, what time do we have to be there? 6:45. Okay.
What?
Well, keep in mind, Victoria was not in the wedding. So I was like, okay, well, I'm not going to drive there and then us drive home separately. I'm just going to ride home with her. So Tyler's like, no big deal. Like, him and his wife were staying at Carter Plantation that night. He's like, "I'll just pick all of you up. We'll ride together." He's like, "Taylor, I'll pick you up first. You're the closest." My alarm, keep in mind, me and Alandra's alarms go off very early, Monday through Friday, right?
Yes.
My alarm on Saturday morning was a 5:20 a.m. alarm.
That's too early.
I had to leave my house at 5:45. We get to the golf course at about 6:30, check in and all that. I had to rent left-handed clubs, of course, because nobody else had left-handed clubs. Guys, my golf game is something that you need to see to believe, okay? Because I'm going to be honest, I hit a few good shots, but guys, the amount of shots that I hit, and I was like, please do not go through anyone's living room window. There are houses on multiple, so we did it at Carter Plantation for anyone who's played there. The amount of fairways that have houses on either side, like trees do not line the fairway. It is $500,000 houses.
Did you knock some windows out?
No, but I'd tell you what I did do. First off, there's about 6 to 8 homeless squirrels now in Carter Plantation for me shooting the ball into the top of their tree. So
Poor thing.
I do apologize for that ahead of time. That doesn't really matter what hole it was. There's houses lined to the left. I hit a ball. It hooks to the left because, well, I'm left-handed, and that's pretty much just what it's going to do if you're bad at golf, which I most certainly am. It lands at this fence. There is a lady in her backyard, no less than, I don't know, 2 to 3 feet away from this actual ball. And like, They tell you don't leave your ball. Like, if you could find it, go get it. I was like, I'm leaving it. We're not doing this. I'm not walking up 2 feet from this lady's yard being like, hey, sorry, I almost hit it through your window. Can't promise you where this thing's going to go. Didn't lose a ton of balls. So we did okay. So there were 6 groomsmen. For whatever reason, they would not let us play in a group of 6. We had to split it up 3 and 3 because 5 groomsmen and the groom. So 6 of us.
Wait, sorry. T-Bob's in the chat.
Oh, no.
He said, oh, hell yeah. Did I just step into a golf story?
Yeah, you did. A Taylor Sharp golf story, which I'm not getting my PGA Tour card anytime soon. We actually won, though. We beat the other team.
Oh, let's go.
No thanks to me. We played best ball, and like a buddy of mine in the group was like really good. So we just hit from his ball every single time. The only thing I was good at was putting, and they gave me a right-handed putter. So that should tell you about how coordinated I am on the golf course.
Sorry, this made me remember. Wait, sorry, were you done?
I mean, yeah, pretty much.
Okay, that sounds like a terrible experience, which, like, I would never be able. I've never played, like, actual golf before, but I've done Top Golf plenty. Reminded me, I forgot to tell y'all that because I forgot that I was doing it. I, like, participated in that Mayor Celebrity Golf bowling thing on Friday.
Oh, yeah, the bowling tournament at the River Center. How'd it go?
Okay, well, first of all, I didn't know anything about it. I forgot I committed to it. I just got back from New York. They're like, hey, are you still coming? And I was like, yes. So I go to it. I thought that, like, it was me, Michelle Southern, Mark Adams, and Brian Haldane, right?
Yes.
Okay, I thought we were going to be on a team together.
Guarantee didn't have their own team?
We were not on a team together. It was like...
So you were with, like, 3
so
randos.
You were rotating with, like, random teams, and you were their quote-unquote celebrity, which... That is a stretch.
Okay, how'd we do?
To be calling me a celebrity. Not great. It wasn't terrible, but like I definitely hit the gutter a couple times. Almost had a strike, left 1 standing. One of the guys was telling me, he was like coaching me up a little bit. He was like, you gotta flip off the ball.
Wait.
Like he was saying, like whenever like he was like, flip off your balls, and he was like, whenever you roll it, can I do it? You like flip off the ball.
Oh, so like literally.
Yeah,
okay.
That's what makes you
I
like.
was thinking this was a saying that I didn't quite understand.
No,
that's
he was
literally
telling me that that's how I get it to go where I want it to go. So then after that, like
I feel like that doesn't work.
It worked.
Okay. How many times did you do it?
I did it like a few times after that. And then I went to 2 groups. You're supposed to rotate the entire time until 10 o'clock. I'm sorry. I left at like 8:30. So
speaking of the bowling thing, I love when bowling events comes up. Michelle Southern does a great job of stroking my ego a little bit because she thinks I'm this good bowler because I had to do the Strikeout ALS with Aaron and Austin Nola a couple years ago, and I was like halfway decent. So she was like, hey, you're a good bowler, right? And then, of course, me being me is like, yeah, absolutely, not at all. I committed to this event, and then February screwed me up, being the weird month it is. I was like, oh, my buddy's wedding's on March 1st, so clearly, like, February 30th is the rehearsal dinner. Forgot February only had 28 days. So literally like 4 days before this event happened, I actually had to pull out. I did want the pink and black jersey. It looked pretty awesome.
Oh, yeah. They made me wear a bowling shirt.
It looked great.
I came in like all like not wearing a bowling shirt, and then they hand me this bowling shirt, and you're like, you have to wear this. And I was like, what did I get myself into?
I forgot about it.
I don't know how I always end up. And I think I said yes because you were going to do it.
Yeah, no,
and then you weren't there.
I literally was like Michelle texted me, and I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm in. Yeah, and I had to back out like 4 days before because I totally forgot that I had to be. And like when you're the best man at a wedding, you kind of got to go to everything, you know? So it's like it was one of those things that I couldn't back out of. Yeah. But no, guys, golfing this weekend was excellent. Sounds like Alondra is very close to becoming a professional bowler. And Cassie got blackout drunk at the at 2 different which do you remember the names of them?
Yeah, so on Saturday I went to Tux. I got a nice like poop emoji, like ice molds. That was pretty cool. That was the one where they like throw toilet paper.
Okay, I feel like I've been to that one before. Is that right before Endymion?
Yes.
Is that early in the day? Okay.
Yes.
Yep. So we went for Endymion, caught the back half of Tuck when I was going down there years ago.
Yeah.
And then what was Sunday?
Sunday was Okeanos, then Mid City, then Toth, and Bacchus was after, but I didn't stay for Bacchus because
you did 3 parades yesterday?
Well, yeah, but like Mid City and Okeanos were like shorter parades. Toth was the long one. I wanted to stay for Bacchus because Shaq was like the king of Bacchus. Like that would have been cool. Yeah. But I had to wake up at 6 a.m. this morning and be here, so I drove back to Baton Rouge last night.
Okay, I know your feelings on parades. You were from New Orleans. You obviously love them.
Yep.
Alondra.
Yeah.
You actually grew up in Texas. What are your thoughts on Mardi Gras and parades?
So I did the Mardi Gras a couple times when I first got here.
Yeah.
I'm personally not a fan. I wish I was. Like, I wish I could go out to parades and have a good time. Someone invited me to Spanish Town, and I bailed last second. Like, I was like 30 minutes before I was going to leave. I was like, I'm actually not going to go. It's just my neighbor, so it's fine. But, like, I wish I could like them. I'm just not, like, a big crowd person, and I don't like people all up on me. I don't like... Yeah, I don't like a bunch of people on me. I wish I liked it, but I don't.
So I stand in the back.
Yeah.
Like, where we stand uptown, we stand like right in front of a church. So it's like a nice like family friendly place. And then like I stand in the back. I don't stand like up in the like the front half of the crowd up against like the floor.
That is such a Cassie thing to say. We stand in the back right in front of a church. So I actually don't like Mardi Gras parades or parades in general. I'm like probably the only person in this building that's from here that doesn't. I was telling Cassie the other day, I was like, you know, Cassie, I don't like Mardi Gras. I was like, I think it's maybe because I don't get it because I'm not Catholic. And then Cassie goes, well, does it really have anything to do with being Catholic? And I was like, well, there you go. That shows about how much I know about Mardi Gras. I'm not a fan. I don't, you guys know me. Believe it or not, I'm a little high energy. I like to kind of get up and believe it or not. When I'm standing there in a crowd of people for, hours at a time, I get a little antsy. I get a little bored. I got to leave. I can't do it. Parades are not my thing. Me, of all people, cannot just stand there and behave myself for however many hours. That's too much of an adult thing to do. I can't do it. It's not my thing. Okay, look. We have actually, this entire first segment has just been an entertainment/weekend recap segment. That is fine.
It's usually how it goes.
Yeah, you know what? That is usually how it goes.
Anyways, I already knew T-Bob was going to be so mad that we didn't like parades. Oh, well. I don't care.
It doesn't matter to me. T-Bob, I love T-Bob. That's my guy. Me and him's interests could not be more further apart on really anything. Yeah. I think we both love amusement parks. That's about it. But I'm more Universal. He's more Disney. So that's kind of where we clash. All right, look, we're going to take a timeout. When we get back, now we're going to recap LSU's big weekend out in Frisco. That's coming up on the other side here on Off the Bench.
Off the Bench.
GetGordon.com. GetGordon.com is the website, and we tell you every single day, as soon as you go to the homepage, it's going to pull up. You can have a chat with them right there on the main page of the website. So any question, concern that you might have, remember you can get a consultation set up right there on the homepage of that website. You can find cases they can handle for you in the courtroom, past client results, all right there on the homepage of the website. What are they doing in the community? Well, always something throughout the state of Louisiana. At Get Gordon is always going to be the handle on all major social media, so you can check that out as well. Because like we said, they're always doing something throughout the state. Speaking of throughout the state, if you want to pick up the phone and give them a call, it is your area code from Shreveport to Ruston, from Ruston to Lafayette to Baton Rouge, Newark, like wherever you're at, put your area code followed by 888-8888. Get Gordon and get it done.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Looking for the ultimate game day experience? Come to the Queen Casino in Baton Rouge. Savor game day platters and snacks, plus drink specials at 1717 Kitchen and Cocktail. So come out for game day and let our team make you the MVP. The Queen Casino, where every moment is a win.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood Subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, We've only got one. You. Auctioneer Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
When it comes to choosing energy for your family and your home, make the smart choice with natural gas. You can count on efficient and affordable natural gas to keep you comfortable.
It's Friday after 5. I got here just in time. Went ahead and with a line before I went and lost my mind. And I ain't been here long, but the bobbers in the pond going up, down, up, down, up, down.
Back to sports talk. Maybe. Off the bench.
Welcome back into Off the Bench. Alondra played my favorite country singer to ever walk this earth. I mean,
Well, it's not just Morgan Wallen, it's also Florida Georgia Line. And I know you love both of them.
That's very true. Massive fans of both of these, all three, I guess I should say, talented musicians that we are currently listening to.
Yeah.
Okay, look, I teased it going into break a little bit. LSU baseball was out there in Frisco, Texas. They played 3 games this weekend against 3 different opponents. I'm going to kind of just give you a quick recap of all 3 games. Then we're going to kind of get into the biggest overall takeaways. So game 1, Tigers take that one 8-5 against Kansas State. This was a 10-inning game, and it was tight down the stretch. It was really the bats late in the game that led LSU to victory. Daniel Dickinson with a huge game. 2 for 4, a 3-run home run. He's finally starting to show off that power. 6 RBIs. Game was tied 5-5 in the bottom of the 10th inning. And who got things started? Stephen Milam. He did that multiple times this weekend. We've been waiting for him to kind of get hot, get back into the form we saw last year. He's finally starting to do that. So he starts things off in the 10th inning with a single. He was able to advance to third, actually, due to an error. And who came up at a big moment? It's Josh Pearson once again. That's why he's in these spots. You heard it a lot coming into the season. Well, you have so much young talent, whether it's outfield, whether it's DH. Does Josh Pearson get lost in the shuffle? No, because he steps up in big moments like this. He's done this his entire career. So you have Milam on third. Josh Pearson comes up. He launches a single into center field. He scores Milam for the go-ahead run, makes it 6-5. Then Daniel Dickinson, he had a 2-out, 2-run single later in that inning. It made it 8-5. And that's all she wrote. Late in the inning, in the bottom of the 10th, they were able to shut things down. And just like last weekend, late in a tight game, who does Jay Johnson go to? It was Kason Evans. He threw the last 2 innings in this game just like he did a weekend ago. And look, 2 shutout innings, no runs, 3 hits. He had a walk, and he also had 3 Ks as well in that Friday game. Game 2, no other way to say it. Anthony Ianson started out, he struggled. But we've seen this before from Anthony Ianson. Week 1, I mean, if anybody had control issues week 1, it was Anthony Ianson, right? But he was able to battle back. He did that as well. So he allowed 5 runs in the first 3 innings. However, over his next 3 innings, he shut the doors on Nebraska. He didn't allow a run in his final 3 innings. That's how you battle back when you don't have your best stuff to start a game. He ends with 7 Ks. He only had 1 walk through 6 innings. So look, LSU trailed by 5 runs in the 4th inning of that game. They plated 3 runs in that 4th inning. Again, Stephen Milam got it started. He had a double. He scored a run in that inning. Kate Beatty had an RBI ground out. Chris Stanfield with an RBI single. I mean, it came from everywhere. They added another 6 runs in the 7th inning, and then Zach Cohen and William Schmidt closed this thing out. We're going to see that a lot from them this year as well. As far as Game 3 goes, yesterday, LSU takes down Sam Houston 12-8. Chase Shores, 5 innings. Didn't have his best stuff. Gave up 4 runs. He had 5 strikeouts. Luis Hernandez was a big guy in that game. 3 for 5 from the plate. Ethan Fry and Stephen Milam both hit home runs in that Game 3. So you're seeing it from a lot of different guys, and it's the guys you wanted to step up, right? Can we see Josh Pearson delivering big moments like he has? Can Stephen Milam get that batting average up where it was? Can we get hitting from the catcher position? Look, Luis Hernandez started Friday and yesterday's game. He had hits in both of those games. He went 3 for 5 in a Game 3. Kate Beatty had that RBI, that big one down the stretch in Game 2. That was a position that everybody was looking at and said, hey, what kind of production can you get offensively? You kind of got 2 guys now that are really neck and neck. I thought that this game here showed a lot of what this team was made of, because what did we see in the opening weekend and really the second weekend as well? It was, man, this pitching staff is dominant. They're not walking batters. I mean, they walked 3 batters in the first 4 games of the season. The starting pitching, it was good, but they didn't have their best stuff this weekend, right? They weren't dominant on the mound. What happens when one area of your game is not doing well? Another area of your game has to elevate. That's what the LSU bats did this weekend. Alondra, I was super impressed all around. What's kind of like your biggest takeaways of this weekend, just overall?
Okay, it would help to turn my own mic on, but
it's a thing.
So biggest takeaway from this weekend was that Derek Curiel 100,000% needs to be your leadoff hitter. He has
to stay there.
Like,
yes.
he has to stay there. Did amazing. And Anthony Ianson got touched up a little bit, and even Chase Shores, they were hitting him with like some just balls that were just getting through the gap. Like, it wasn't even like good hits. They were just getting through the gap. So the bullpen on the back end of the weekend kind of struggled a little bit, but especially on Sunday. But you got to remember, this was like a 5-game week that they had. Like, they played Nichols.
5 games in 7 days. I mean, that's not easy to do.
Played Nichols, Dallas Baptist, and then 4 of them were on the road. So you've been in Dallas, the Dallas area, the entire week. So I'm not too concerned about how Sunday went in terms of like the bullpen. Chase Shores is struggling with his command a little bit, I feel like, and we've seen it a couple times in his last outings. But we said that before the season started to like not be too disappointed with how Chase Shores, because he was so hyped up. But I mean, I still think that he's gonna do well. And then I think Kason Evans needs to be your closer. We
talked about this last week. Yeah. Like Gavin Guidry, everybody was like, oh, well, he's going to get the first opportunity. You know, he has the advantage. He has the experience. He's injured, but I mean, look, last weekend, he went to him in a close game. He threw 2 shutout innings. On Saturday, he goes to him in a close game. He throws 2 shutout innings. I mean, he's the guy right now.
Yeah. And we also talked about how, the thing that everybody says at the beginning of every season is like, oh, well, who have they played? And we laid it out for you before the weekend. Like, these weren't teams that are just whatever. And you saw that with Nebraska. They got up 5 early on you. You came back from it. But, I mean, we said it. They beat a ranked team already. And the true test was like, are you going to be able to go on the road, beat your first ranked team that you're going to face on the season? And are you going to be able to, like, consistently keep up with that competition? And they did. Like, so I don't really want to hear, like, the competition aspect of it going forward, because this team, despite not playing quote-unquote great competition at the beginning of the season, like, you can just tell that something's different about this team, and they're clicking in a way that, to me, is reminiscent of, like, the 2023 team. And even Jay said that himself, that, like, last year it wasn't the same as, like, this year. And we're not sure what it is. I mean, they all ran together and jumped in the lazy river yesterday. Like, it just, something about this team feels different. And to me, it's like, Michael Braswell is not going to get a lot of love, but he had a lot of team at-bats where, like, he sacrificed and ran and got runners in scoring position. So he's not going to get a lot of credit for that, but they're out here taking team at-bats too, not just, like, swinging for the fences every single time, which was, I feel like they were doing last year.
I'm glad you mentioned this team just looks different. I 100% agree with you. And, like, sure, you brought up 2023, but you can see it in every sport. Okay, so 2019, LSU football, they opened the season with Georgia Southern. It was the last time they did not open with a top 25 team. They win that game 49-3 or 49-10, whatever it was. But you looked at it, you were like, this offense is different. Joe Burrow is different. All of these guys are going to make plays. And then the confidence was there. The team camaraderie was there. Alondra started talking about them jumping in the lazy river. If you remember, before they went on the road to Austin against a top 15 Texas team, they went up to Texas's coolers before the game. They were drinking the Gatorade. They were stealing it from Texas. Like, that team knew that every time they walked out on the field, they were the more talented team. I see it with this team as well. Like, to her point, Chase Shores has struggled. But guess what? Your offense has picked it up when they've needed to. Your bullpen has picked it up when they've needed to. Anthony Ianson hadn't had his best stuff, but he's got out of multiple jams in multiple starts this year. And also, guys, you have a dominant left-handed Friday night starter. That is one of the most important things. Cade Anderson, again, he goes 5 1/3 innings, 10 strikeouts, allowed only 2 runs on 3 hits. If he can continue to do this, you're going to have a chance to win every Friday night. And if Chase Shores gets the control if he gets that under wraps, you're going to have a pitching advantage every Sunday that you play as well. If the bats can come around. Like, look, I made a few notes of, like, what I liked overall this weekend. Like, as far as my standouts, she mentions Derek Curiel at the top of the lineup. He absolutely has to stay there. Daniel Dickinson. We saw the power that we were promised when he came here. I mentioned the 3-run homer that he had earlier in the weekend. Look, he goes 5 for 13. He had 7 RBIs this weekend. Stephen Milam, he had 6 hits, 5 RBIs. He had a home run. Josh Pearson was actually named tournament MVP yesterday. 6 for 9 on the weekend, 2 RBIs. And he's a guy that's fighting for a spot. He's not even an everyday player right now. That should tell you how deep and how talented this team is. Also, I have talked about the catcher battle a number of times. I'm not going to mention it anymore because I'm okay with the 2-catcher system. Multiple times this year, we've seen Luis Hernandez in Game 1 and Game 3 and Cade Arambidi in Game 2. They are both performing offensively and defensively. Arambidi's gotten better behind the plate than he was in the opening weekend. Look, yesterday, Luis Hernandez goes 3 for 5 from the plate. Arambidi had a huge RBI in Game 2 to kind of get things started in extra innings. We've seen Jay Johnson do this before. Look, whether it was with Alex Milazzo, Hayden Travinski, a lot of guys, he's had 2 catchers a number of years. They won a national championship that year. I definitely think Hernandez is probably your most complete catcher right now, only because of 2 reasons. He's a little bit better defensively, and he's got that experience. But I'm okay with Arambidi. If you need to throw Arambidi in there, I'm fine with it. Coming into the year, I kind of thought catcher was a question mark. It's still a question on who's starting, but it may not be a concern anymore like it was when the season started. I was very impressed with the way this team won because, again, we've seen them shut down opposing teams, right? You hadn't had to score a lot of runs. This weekend was different. I remember when we came back from the college football playoff, it was Texas, Arizona State. Everybody was clowning Texas, saying, oh, you almost lost to Arizona State. I came away more impressed with Texas in that game because you found a different way to win. What did we talk about with that team? Oh, well, if they're not able to run the ball and Quinn Ewers has to make big plays, they're going to lose the game. Arizona State shut down their running game. You forced Quinn Ewers to make big throws. He delivered in that game. And they were a better team because of it. LSU is going to be a better team because of this. You're not always going to shut down every single team you play. There are some talented hitters in the SEC. LSU showed that they can win the game in multiple ways. All right, look, we're going to take a quick timeout. When we get back, an article came out about 5 potential breakout stars for LSU football in 2025. I like the list overall. I do have a few concerns with it. We'll break that down when we get back here on Off the Bench.
Off the Bench.
All-Star Toyota of Baton Rouge.com. If you're buying new, if you're leasing, if you're renting, and we've been telling you over the last couple of weeks, and well, next week is here, but if you've got a trip for Mardi Gras break, it is not too late. Call Miss Lisa Sessions today in the rental department, and if you need a mid-size SUV, a full-size SUV, van, truck, hybrid, sedan, doesn't matter. Everything's available in that rental process, so make sure to get that done. But of course, if you're buying new or leasing, well, actually, maybe not leasing. Maybe you go some places and you only have like 3 options, 1 in each category. That's not the case over at All-Star. T-Bob and I have both taken full advantage of the rental process, leasing a vehicle, buying new, all three, everything's going to be available. And we always tell you they have something for everybody. No matter what your needs are, what your family's needs are, they have got you taken care of. So go check out the full selection of vehicles at All-Star Toyota of Baton Rouge.com.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
Looking for the ultimate game day experience? Come to the Queen Casino in Baton Rouge. Savor game day platters and snacks, plus drink specials at 1717 Kitchen and Cocktail. So come out for game day and let our team make you the MVP. The Queen Casino, where every moment is a win.
At Atmos Energy, our smart choice solutions help customers save energy and emissions with rebates up to $500 off high-efficiency natural gas.
Welcome in to the best morning sports-ish show around. Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob.
She was sitting all alone over on the tailgate, 10 legs swinging by a
Love me some Luke Bryan. We're coming in with it this Monday morning. Taylor Sharp here with you. 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge here on Off the Bench. In all week long in the big boy chair for T-Bob Hebert and Jacob Hester. Jake out there on a cruise. T-Bob right now partying with Mickey, and he's up early. We know this because he made some unfortunate remarks at our lack of love for Mardi Gras parades. We see you out there, T-Bob. Go have some fun. Enjoy the family time. So I teased it going into break a little bit. Death Valley Voice, this was actually put out by Nicholas Rome of Death Valley Voice, put out 5 potential breakout stars for LSU in 2025. I like the list overall. However, I do have a few concerns. So the first name he brings up is Trey'Dez Green. I love the thought. However, as far as I'm concerned, Trey'Dez Green has already broken out. What we saw from him in the bowl game against Baylor as an every down player was eye-opening, because really up to that point, he was kind of a spot guy, right? You'd put him in at the red zone. You'd put him in goal line. Mason Taylor was your everyday tight end. Mason Taylor didn't play in that bowl game. Trey'Dez Green had to step up. he was excellent. I mean, he was on the field every single snap for you in that game. I don't know how much tight end Trey'Dez Green is going to actually play. I don't think he's going to need to. One, you have Bauer Sharp coming in, who is a really solid all-around tight end. And then if you need a blocking tight end, you brought in Donovan Green from Texas A&M. Trey'Dez Green struggled in blocking. So you have two guys right there that right now are more complete, more traditional tight ends than Trey'Dez Green. But make no mistake about it, Trey'Dez is going to be on the field. He is such a mismatch out wide. He is 6'7", 245 pounds, and he's got some wheels on him. You line him up out wide. You line him up in the slot. There are not a lot of guys out there that can cover him. Trey'Dez is going to have a heck of a role on this team. I'm excited to see where he carves out again. I think he's actually going to play more out wide, more in the slot than he is in that traditional tight end spot. And I think that's a better spot for him because I think you're actually really talented and pretty deep at tight end this year. So as far as I'm concerned, yes, it's a good choice. Trey'Dez Green's already broken out on this team as far as I'm concerned. The next name he mentions is Gabriel Relaford. I like Gabriel Relaford. I think you saw flashes from him last year as a freshman. With Braden Swinson and Savion Jones headed to the NFL, both of your defensive end spots are up for grabs. I just don't know if anyone at this position can break out. Not just Relaford, anyone. Look at who LSU added. They added Jack Pyburn from Florida. He's a solid pass rusher. Patrick Payton from Florida State. Jamari Butler from NC State comes in. This is a very, very talented room. As thin as you were last year, sure, you had Savion Jones and Braden Swinson. Outside of them, you didn't have a ton. You had Deshaun Womack, who's no longer on the team anymore, and you had freshman Gabriel Relaford. That's all you had. Honestly, all three of the guys you brought in are more experienced than Gabriel Relaford, who's one of your only returning players at that position. Relaford's certainly going to have a role. And roles adapt, evolve. Players get more playing time as the season goes on. Maybe late in the year, we look back and say, hey, Gabriel Relaford did have a breakout season. He was an every down player. I don't know if any of these guys are going to be quote unquote every down players. Because Patrick Payton's going to rush the passer. Jack Pyburn, he came here to be a pass rusher. He talked about that. He wanted to play more on third downs than what Florida was allowing him to do. Jamari Butler has been a good pass rusher in college. All of these guys are going to have different roles. He's definitely going to have a role, but Relaford's probably going to start the season as a situational player, just like every other person in this room. The next position they mentioned on Death Valley Voice as far as a breakout player is Deshaun Spears. I love this choice. It was probably my favorite pick they chose on this entire list. I know he was a freshman last year. I thought he should have played a lot more. Safety was a liability, to say the least, with Sage Ryan and Jordan Gilbert a year ago. Sage Ryan is gone. Gilbert's coming back, but look, Deshaun Spears is 6'3". He's 210 pounds. He can do a lot of things for you at that size. You only brought in one safety in the transfer portal. You brought in Tamarcus Cooley. Tamarcus Cooley has really good numbers. You believe he's going to slide right in there and be one of your starting safeties. That other spot's up for grabs. Who's it going to be? Is it going to be Jordan Gilbert, who struggled a year ago? Is it going to be Joel Rogers, who redshirted last year? What's his role going to look like in the spring? Does he even stick around? Do you move Mansour Delane? Do you move one of these corners that you brought in? You brought in a lot of corners. Do you move one of them to safety? I think Deshaun Spears has a good shot at taking one of those spots. Look, I mentioned it. He's tall. He's rangy. He's 6'3". He's 210. He has good coverage skills as well. He can fly to the football. You saw it in flashes last year. He's a year older. He's another year in this program. He's with Corey Raymond. I really think Deshaun Spears is... Keep an eye on that name. When spring football starts this Saturday, keep an eye on the name Deshaun Spears. I think you're going to hear it a lot. Because look, even with Tamarcus Cooley, who again, I think is a good safety, he's hovering around 6 foot. Deshaun Spears, 6'3", 210 pounds. He has the range to go all over the field. You can move him around. You can put him in the box as a box safety. You can move him to the nickel, to the star, wherever you want to move him. The ability of Deshaun Spears to move around is going to get him on the field a lot. I expect we're going to hear his name a lot. I love that choice. The last two names, I saved them for last because they're at the same position group. They listed Dominic McKinley and Ahmad Brett. 2 weeks ago, I would have said these are great choices. the Bo Davis departure changes things for me a little bit. One, who will LSU hire? Can they coach McKinley and Bro and get through to them the way Bo Davis did? Number two, will these two guys even stick around? Because look, that is certainly a concern for LSU. What if, even if LSU makes a great hire, what if Bro, McKinley, both of them, none of them, but like let's say one of them doesn't mesh well with your new coach for whatever reason? You got a spring portal window coming up. Both of those guys can enter, and as soon as they enter, both of those guys are going to get snatched up probably the next day. Bro played a ton of snaps last year as a freshman. He's only going to get better because he's only going to get more familiar with the defensive tackle spot. If you remember, he was recruited as a defensive end. When he signed, he was about 245, 250. He put on about 40 pounds of weight between the spring and the fall. He played at like 285, 290 from 245, 250 in high school. The more he plays there, he's going to get more comfortable. I love what I saw from him. I thought he looked like the most talented guy as far as freshmen go on that defensive line a year ago. Now, with Dominic McKinley, he was a little bit raw, but you saw flashes of his potential, right? You saw what he could be. Also, not everyone is 6'6", 315 pounds. He's a guy that under the right coaching could be incredible because you just can't teach that kind of size. You bring in Sydir Mitchell from Texas. He's 6'4", he's 340 pounds. You sign freshman Zion Williamson. He's 6'4", he's 335 pounds. So you have a lot more meat on the bones in the middle of that defensive line this year, but the fact that Dominic McKinley was on this team a year ago, Sydir Mitchell and Zion Williams were not, you got to believe that Dominic McKinley has the inside track of being that one technique, of being that big body in the middle, strictly because coaches are familiar with it. They know what they're going to get from a player like a Dominic McKinley. Look, I really love the potential of both of those guys, whether it's Dominic McKinley or Ahmad, bro. Again, the main problem I have is who's going to be coaching them. Who LSU hires as a D-line coach and how quickly they hire their D-line coach is going to tell us a lot about the futures of Dominic McKinley and Ahmad, bro. Keep an eye on both of those names in the spring. The more you hear them, the more you hear good things about them, I think the better chance that one or both of these guys stick around for fall. A couple guys I probably would have put on this list, maybe like breakout players instead of who Death Valley Voice put out. Devon Keys is a guy that I am just so fascinated by because look, West Weeks is coming back. He didn't play a ton this year because of injury. Whit Weeks, going to be one of the best linebackers in the country. He's the hot name. He is coming off that broken fibula. T-Bob sits in this chair and talks about that's the easiest injury he's come back from. Great. I'm all for it. He's still not going to be there during the spring. Devon Keys has a chance to step up and prove that he belongs and grab one of those linebacker spots. Because with Whit Weeks down for likely most of the spring, you moved Harold Perkins from inside linebacker to star. There's a spot up for grabs. And what we saw from Devon Keys in spurts last year was something to be excited about. I mean, he had the scoop and score in the bowl game for the touchdown. He made some nice plays and spot duty all throughout the season. He's another guy. He was just a freshman last year. He's a year longer in this program. He's a year under Blake Baker already. He's entering year 2. He's a guy that I'm keeping an eye on. Also, DJ Pickett. DJ Pickett will be here for spring practice. Heck, you saw video of him practicing with LSU during bowl practice preparing for Baylor. He's a guy that while he's a freshman, he's 6'3". Can he grab one of those corner spots? We've seen LSU and Corey Raymond in particular not be scared to throw freshmen out there. Derek Stingley did it. A couple of freshmen have done it. PJ Woodland played a lot in that USC game. He didn't get the start, but he played a lot. If you're good enough as a freshman, Corey Raymond and this LSU defense, they are not afraid to throw you out there. DJ Pickett was the number 1 cornerback in all of high school last year. He's coming in. He's got a big body. He's a physical guy. He is physically ready to play right now. Can he grasp the mental part of it? Because body-wise, athleticism-wise, he's already there. Also, what about Harlem Berry and JT Lindsey? One of those guys or the combination of both. Caden Durham is back. Caden Durham will be your lead running back. There's no question about it. He was very, very good as a freshman last year. But Josh Williams meant so much to this football team a year ago, whether it was in short yardage situations, coming in passing situations to pick up a blitzer, or really catch the ball out of the backfield. I get it. Caden Durham stole all the headlines with his flashy play, but Josh Williams was a huge part of your offense. He's gone. Somebody is going to have to step up and be that number 2 back. Can it be Caleb Jackson? We've waited 2 years for him to really break out. Or what if one of these freshmen passes him up? whether it's Harlem Berry or JT Lindsay or both of those guys. That's a possibility as well. Also, Teron Francis. He's a guy that a lot of people are not talking about. This guy's a big-time receiver. He's 6'1". He is already 200 pounds. He has the frame to do it. He was a guy that rose drastically from his junior year to his senior year. He had an incredible senior year right here in the state of Louisiana. You bring in him. You bring in Phillip Wright. Phillip Wright's a little light. Teron Francis looks physically ready to play right now. Again, you bring back some receivers. You bring back Aaron Anderson. You bring back Xavion Thomas. You got Barry and Brown and Nick Anderson coming in, who I both think are going to be really good players. But LSU constantly rotates receivers. And outside of those front-line guys who you believe are going to be your starters, there's a lot of there's talent, but it's unproven talent. Can Teron Francis come in and grab one of those spots? I certainly think he has the ability to do so. Look, we'll see. That's just kind of a quick spring breakdown. Look, spring practice for LSU starts this Saturday. Every day this week, I want to mention either a position group or something. We're going to kind of slowly preview, get you in the mood for some spring football. All right, we're going to take a quick time out. When we come back, LSU was on the hardwood, both men's and women's this weekend. Did not go well for either team. We'll break it back when we get back here on Off the Bench.
Off the Bench.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
You gotta believe in a dream. Believe. You gotta believe in a dream. Believe. You gotta believe. Whole team on wild.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
Looking for the ultimate game day experience? Come to the Queen Casino in Baton Rouge. Wall-to-wall TVs mean you'll see every touchdown in HD. Place your bets and feel the thrill of every play with our DraftKings Sportsbook. The Queen Casino, where every moment is a win.
Parish Construction and Roofing.
This is Coach Kim Mulkey. Go to parishbuilt.com for all of your roofing needs.
From your hometown, parishbuilt.com.
you can't rely on technology. You can rely on Mountain Cold Refreshment.
Dave's back on.
Coors Light. Choose chill.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Led by
She'll set the field on fire, just cutting across the pasture.
Welcome back to the best morning sports show around. Sorta. It's Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob.
To KTZBlinds.com, KTOZ Blinds.com. And I can't tell you enough. And actually, like during the last couple of weeks, our shade has just consistently stayed down that we have in the back of our home. And that's where the sun kind of before we got it just really ruined TV viewing during the day. You're trying to watch like a big NFL game or a big baseball game. LSU's got an early one today and you couldn't get it done. It just wasn't the same, right? You got this huge glare on the TV. Well, I didn't think putting something on the exterior of our home would change the interior of our home, but it has certainly done that. Now it's done its original job. Like Harlow loves going out to our little patio. We drop the shade down there. She plays out there, absolutely loves it. It's not as hot, it's not bright, but it has changed the dynamic of our entire home. The house is cooler whenever we have the shade down. They'll do it for you as well. K2ZBlinds.com.
All right, welcome back into Off the Bench. Final segment, hour number 1 here on a Monday. I know going into break there, I teased LSU basketball, but turns out I have a lot to say about that, so we're going to save that for a segment later on. I do want to mention, look, we were talking baseball a little bit earlier. There's another team on the diamond here in Baton Rouge that is also really, really good, and of course I'm talking about Beth Torina and the LSU softball team. Look, they lost their first game of the year on Thursday to Cal State Fullerton by 1 run. But they responded in a big way. So they played a 3-game series this weekend as well, but they played 2 Friday, 1 Saturday. Let me show you what they did this weekend. 2 games on Friday. The first game was a 2-0 win over Utah, and then the second game was a 10-0 run rule against Notre Dame after 5 innings. Saturday was great as well. 9-1 over Weber State. Pitcher against Utah, Jaden Heavner, the freshman, 11 strikeouts. Sydney Berzon against Notre Dame, 7 strikeouts. Then it wasn't a dominant pitching performance in terms of strikeouts, but Emily Casanova and Ashley Vallejo combined in Game 3. Again, a 9-1 win over Weber State. The softball team is dangerous for a number of reasons. Number 1, your pitching staff is a lot deeper than it was a year ago. When this team played last year, when Sydney Berzon was on the mound, you were almost unbeatable. When Sydney Berzon had her off days, you struggled a little bit. You were still a good team. You were not a great team. You bring in Jaden Heavner. Casanova and Vallejo have stepped up. All 3 of those are young players. You have so much more pitching-wise this season outside of Sydney Berzon than you had a year ago. Also, getting Danica Coffey back is huge. Last year, LSU was a top 5 team in the country and hadn't lost a single game. Danica Coffey goes down, you lose your next 6. Everything fell apart because you had Sierra Daniel, you had Maddox McKee, you had to throw in 2 freshmen at third base, which is a really hard position to play, and they both struggled. Speaking of Sierra Daniel, she has taken a big step forward this year. Now, she's not at third. That belongs to Danica Coffey, but she's at second right now, and she's hitting the cover off the ball. You still have Danica Coffey at the top of that lineup, again, at third base. I don't know how far this team can go, but, guys, every time I watch them play, I hear about them play, and I see a box score, I get more and more excited because everything this team was lacking a year ago, outside of Sydney Berzon, outside of Danica Coffey when she got injured, they filled in a big way. You have Rudity out there in the outfield. She's been there for a number of years. You got 2 young players next to her. They might even be better than she is. I mean, both of them had excellent, excellent weekends. Beth Torina has done such a good job of putting a team together that is good in all areas of softball, whether it's pitching, whether it's base running, whether it's fielding, hitting. They are good at every single thing right now. They can win games in multiple ways. We just talked about it with the LSU baseball team. I think the softball team has the ability to do that as well. Now, right now, they're beating the crap out of everybody, and they don't need to, but they certainly have the ability to do so. All right, look, coming up in hour number 2, we're going to be joined by Grant Sachere from Crescent City Sports. He's going to hop on with us, talk some New Orleans Saints. We'll also preview some LSU football because he will be out there at spring practice. We'll talk a lot of NFL, and maybe we'll get into the Oscars as well because, guys, I just hate every time a movie wins Movie of the Year that I've never seen. So all that coming up in hour number 2. Stay tuned here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Off the bench.
At Atmos Energy, our smart choice solutions help customers save energy and emissions with rebates up to $500 off high-efficiency natural gas appliances, smart thermostats, and weatherization upgrades. Together, we're fueling our energy future.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared toward seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Looking for the ultimate game day experience? Come to the Queen Casino in Baton Rouge. Savor game day platters and snacks, plus drink specials at 1717 Kitchen and Cocktail. So come out for game day and let our team make you the MVP. The Queen Casino, where every moment is a win.
Parish Construction and Roofing.
This is Coach Kim Mulkey. Go to parishbuilt.com for all of your roofing needs.
From your hometown,
When you can't rely on technology, you can rely on Mountain Cold Refreshment.
Dave's back on.
Coors Light. Choose chill.
Wake up call on the dial, turn it up loud. T-Bob with the fire, Alondra with
Welcome into hour number 2 of a Monday edition of Off the Bench. Taylor Sharper with you, the man with the smile, as the intro music would say. Okay, look, we were very LSU heavy in hour number 1. I mean, we covered baseball, softball. We talked about our weekend and my awful golf game. I broke down 5 possible breakout players for LSU in spring practice. Right now, I want to shift focus to the New Orleans Saints because they got a lot going on. They just hired a new head coach. They hired some new coordinators, and the NFL draft is right around the corner. For that, I want to bring in Grant Sachere, reporter for Crescent City Sports. Grant, what's going on this morning, man?
I've been doing pretty good. I'm recovering from Mardi Gras weekend, of course, here in New Orleans, but also more so my allergies came back too. So I was really battling more of that than the hangover from Mardi Gras. But I'm doing great this morning.
How many parades did we hit this weekend?
I was in Endymion and I was at Bacchus. I actually fell asleep halfway through Endymion for some reason. That's how tired I was from the allergies, man. It was killing me.
Dude, I hear you. I had a wedding all Saturday. It was quite the time. Grant, let's dive in right now to the New Orleans Saints. Look, obviously they have hired Kellen Moore, and since then he has hired his offensive and defensive coordinators. You got Doug Nussmeier on the offensive side of things. You got Brandon Staley on the defense. Just kind of surface level, like, what are your thoughts on those coordinator hires?
Well, for starters, I think for Doug Nussmeier, he's somebody that has worked with Kellen Moore, at every stop since 2018. He was there with Kellen Moore with the Cowboys, he was with Kellen Moore with the Chargers, and, of course, he was with Kellen Moore with the Eagles. So it made sense why he was the guy to go with as the offensive coordinator. He's not really calling the plays. He's more there to kind of help with game planning and also, be a close confidant of Kellen Moore. For Brandon Staley was the head coach of the Chargers in 2023, where Kellen Moore was offensive coordinator. So, of course, they have some sort of relationship. And on top of that, he runs a 3-4 and is a big Fangio guy. That's somebody that Kellen Moore worked with when he was with the Eagles. But, the only question I have about Brandon Staley is, will we see the Brandon Staley defense from 2020 when the Rams had the number 1 defense, or will we see the Brandon Staley defense when he was the head coach of the Chargers, where they were no better than 20th throughout his 3 years with the Chargers? Now, that may have to do with him taking on more responsibilities because he was the head coach, but we will see, because right now in New Orleans, heads are going to roll right now because I think everyone wants Mickey Loomis gone.
Speaking of Mickey Loomis being in the headlines, look, he came out last week and was saying, look, the Saints' plan right now, at least for the moment, is to stick with Derek Carr this season at quarterback. Is that the right move or the wrong move?
That's a great question, Taylor. It's the right move and the wrong move at the same time, if you know what I'm saying. The Saints dug themselves a hole by giving a lucrative 4-year, $150 million deal with a no-trade clause. Guys like Derek Carr usually don't get that. Derek Carr, he's been a decent quarterback throughout his entire time with the NFL. He's a 3- or 4-time Pro Bowler. But he's not somebody that's going to take you to the next level. And I feel like the disconnect between a lot of people that cover or are fans of the Saints and then with the front office. The front office thinks they're one player away from winning a lot of football games. However, they're more like 21 players from winning a lot of football games. And I feel like that's the disconnect that the Saints have with everybody else, that they seem to be one place where everything's like rainbows and rainbow unicorns, while in New Orleans it seems like we're in Chernobyl in this sense.
Speaking of, the Saints quarterback situation, look, obviously they mentioned Derek Carr. A lot of people are like, hey, can you grab a free agent? Can you grab somebody in the draft? Spencer Rattler is a guy that a lot of Saints fans have a lot of different opinions on. Some people are like, oh, I loved what I saw from Spencer Rattler. Some people are like, well, I think Spencer Rattler left a lot to be desired. What are your thoughts on him and maybe his future with this franchise?
Well, I don't know if he's the short-term or the long-term answer.
Yeah.
What I do know is that he has a lot of talent, right? He was the number 1 player coming out of high school. I know he had a pretty inconsistent career in college with Oklahoma and South Carolina. But the talent's undeniable, right? Tom Pelissero went on the Rich Eisen show and talked about how a lot of NFL coaches thought Spencer Rattler was extremely talented. Now, there's a difference between having talent in being a guy that will win games, right? Tom Brady was not the most talented guy in the world, but Tom Brady was a competitor, and he won a lot, won the ring as a quarterback for the Patriots. I mean, people always saw Peyton Manning as the most talented quarterback, but when it came down to winning games and going to playoffs and winning a championship, who would you choose? Tom Brady.
Absolutely.
So the thing about Spencer Rattler is that he may not be as good or even better than Derek Carr, but compared to Derek Carr, one of the main criticisms about Derek Carr is he's not really that big of a competitor. He's not a guy that's going to challenge his teammates or even make his teammates better. We had not seen that throughout his career in the NFL, even going back to the Raiders.
Grant, so many people, just outside of Derek Carr, they're talking about they want a complete rebuild for the New Orleans Saints. I, for one, am all for it. But, you see the cap situation the Saints are in, and one guy that's going to have a big cap hit is Cam Jordan. Look, he's not getting any younger. What are your thoughts on the Saints potentially trading away Cam Jordan?
It's not even just Cam Jordan. I think if you're the Saints, you have to be in rebuild mode. You should have been in rebuild mode 2 years ago. And the fact that we're talking about trading Cam Jordan, I know as much as people in New Orleans love Cam Jordan, I think one of the worst moves that the Saints made was extending Cam Jordan, despite his play going on the down, right? And now you're in this horrible cap space situation where you're $54 million over the cap. And then, there was a lot of talk about the Saints releasing Taysom Hill, but now they're resigning Taysom Hill. So, looking at the Saints, it's almost like they're not trying to go into a reset. They're almost trying to win now, which makes zero sense when you have a new regime in place with Kellen Moore. You have the fourth oldest roster, and really at this point, you should do whatever you can to get under the cap, whether it's restructuring contracts, whether it's trading players. So if you trade Cam Jordan, it's not the end of the world, but who's going to take Cam Jordan right now? Who's 35 years old, will be 36 during the season, and, his play's going down. Will he be used for? That's kind of where the Saints are at right now. All the players they want to trade away are older.
Yeah, I'm glad you.
35 years old. Go ahead.
I'm glad you mentioned that about Cam because, I have that same thought about Taysom Hill. So many people were mad saying, why are the Saints bringing back Taysom Hill? Grant, you got a 35-year-old gadget player who fits your offense, not necessarily everybody else's, who had multiple injuries in college. Now he's coming off of multiple injuries in the NFL. I just don't know how much you can get for a Taysom or a Cam Jordan on the open market.
Right, exactly. I mean, Taysom Hill's coming off a major knee surgery too, right? So, and he's 35 years old. Right now, he's probably thinking about his post-playing career. That's where Taysom Hill's at in his career. I mean, he's an older player. Not only, you may look at his years whoa, how is he 35? Well, he went to BYU. Of course, they take 2-year Mormon missions, and then they come back and play college a lot of times. So it was generally an older. He was even an older player in college. So right now, if you're the Saints, there's no reason why you should bring back Taysom Hill. If you want to bring back a Taysom Hill-esque player, in reality, the Saints should draft Tyler Warren. I know you're going to probably ask about the draft, but Tyler Warren was a phenomenal tight end in college. But not only that, they used him in a lot of wildcat situations because he was actually the high school quarterback.
You brought me right into the next question, Grant. Shifting from guys that are on the current roster to guys who could be. The NFL draft coming up in April. As far as round one, whether it's a specific player or just a position group as a whole, what do you think the Saints should do round one?
Well, I know Kellen Moore at his introductory press conference talked a lot about the trenches, right? So a lot of people are thinking maybe they might draft a deep lineman, which is reasonable because they do need another edge rusher because, of course, Cam Jordan is getting older. He might be retiring after this year. So that's a possibility. And people are talking about the offensive line, but really the need for offensive line is interior offensive linemen, but there's really not that much top-notch interior offensive linemen. They're more offensive tackles, and right now I think the Saints are comfortable with their offensive tackles at the moment, right? Despite Trevor Penny's struggles. If I'm the Saints, I would draft a pass catcher, whether that be a receiver or tight end. Of course, a receiver, you have Tedoroa McMillan. I'm pretty sure Luther Burden might be somebody that the Saints will be interested in as well because he's a very good receiver at Missouri and supposed to will probably be a top 10 pick. But both those guys might go earlier than number 9, right? Tedoroa McMillan, I've seen some mock drafts. We might go in the top 5, reasonably so. Tedoroa McMillan is 6'4", 210 pounds. He will not only provide a third option in the passing game, which you desperately need given the injuries you had last year, but he's also a bigger receiver. Like he said, he's 6'4", 210 pounds. Nobody on the Saints has that type of size. So you probably need a guy like him. But I think really the Saints will draft, like I said, Tyler Warren. Tyler Warren not only is a great pass catcher, but who also provides support on the edges, right? He can help out Trevor Penny or Taluza Fuaga with blocking on the edge. But like I said, he's also has been used as a wildcat quarterback. So, if you're trying to bring in somebody like that in like short yard situations, Tyler Warren will be perfect for that. I know there's still some questions about his blocking ability, but Tyler Warren's a top 15 pick for a reason, right? He's an extremely gifted athlete and a great pass catcher, and really was one of the reasons why Penn State made it as far as it did in the playoffs.
Grant Sachere joining us right now, reporter for Crescent City Sports. Grant, let's get away from the round one, and I agree with everything you said. As far as quarterbacks go, obviously the Saints are not going to grab somebody in the first couple rounds, but are there any late-round QBs you like?
Yeah, for starters, I think Jackson Dart is somebody that the Saints can look at. I think he's probably going to be more of a day 2 pick. However, I've been hearing a lot of people praise Jackson Dart, so he could possibly move to day 1. I don't know yet. I mean, we won't know more pretty much until after the pro days, because obviously you had the combine this past week, and then of course you had pro days coming up. So a lot more could be coming out. We saw Brian Thomas be a borderline first-round pick to being a bona fide first-round pick due to the combine and pro day. But I think the Jackson Dart is somebody the Saints will probably look at. I think the Saints will also look at a guy like Kyle McFord, a guy who is a competitor, right? Remember, he got sent away from Ohio State for Will Howard, which is another guy I think the Saints will look at as well. But Kyle McFord went to Syracuse instead of bulking down and just like, oh, whatever. He balled out at Syracuse, right? He was the reason why they went 8-4. He had a phenomenal year at Syracuse, throwing for over 4,000 yards. I know he has a little bit of an interception problem, but his competitive nature is there, and I think that's somebody that the Saints desperately need right now. When right now it just seems like the Saints are on a downward spiral, and they have been so for the past 3 years. But also speaking of Will Howard, that's somebody that the Saints will probably look at in the late rounds as well. He was a 3-4 year starter at Kansas State, goes to Ohio State, has a great year, and really showed his ability in the playoff when the Buckeyes needed him the most, winning the national championship in the process.
Grant, before I let you go, not only are you with Crescent City Sports, you cover a lot for LSU as well. I see you out there at all the fall practices. I'll probably do the same this coming year. Look, spring practice coming up for LSU, but Bo Davis leaving as a defensive line coach and going to the New Orleans Saints. What does that mean for the Saints? What does that mean for the Tigers?
Well, that is definitely LSU's biggest loss going this spring, and it's definitely the Saints' biggest gain going into the offseason course. Bo Davis is arguably the best defensive line coach in football, period, regardless of level. He's a guy that not only is coached at the college level, was a long-time Saban assistant for a very long time, but he's also a guy who's coached in the NFL for, I think, about 5 or 6 years, most recently with the Detroit Lions from 2018 to 2020, before accepting the same job with Texas. And I saw a lot of Twitter debate about Bo Davis with LSU fans and Saints fans. That's something I still haven't figured out yet, because not only am I a longtime Saints fan, of course, being from New Orleans, but also went to LSU. So I never really got the fuss between LSU and the Saints. But what I do know is that it just seems like Bo Davis is ready to get out of college, right? With all the changes and everything like that. And when the Saints job opened up, I mean, it was kind of like, oh, I'm going to take it. He's a grown man. He made a grown man decision. And, he still loves LSU. He went to LSU. He played at LSU. Obviously, he coached at LSU, but I think he just probably want to get back to the NFL where you don't have to, deal with, recruiting and NAL and how much you pay this guy, and of course the transfer portal, and you might not have the same guys each and every year because of those two factors. I just think he's just had enough of them. He's an older coach. People have to remember that he's 54, 55 years old, which is pretty old for a coach, especially at the college level.
Grant Sachere, reporter for Crescent City Sports. Grant, thanks for hopping on with us today, man.
No problem. Thank you for having me on, Taylor.
Absolutely. All right, look, we're going to take a quick timeout. When we get back, a little bit more Saints coming up here on the other side on Off the Bench.
Off the Bench.
All right, go to pelicanroof.com, pelicanroof.com. One of just the coolest tools that you will see out there, right there on the homepage of the website. What will my roof cost? Well, you put it in right there, your address. It's going to pull it up on the map, and it's going to frame your home and give you an estimate right there, like on the spot, of how much they estimate your roof replacement to be. Never really seen anything else like it, just to give you an idea of what you're looking at. And then, right, after you get that and you get that number and you kind of get that information, then you can get in contact with them. Again, pelicanroof.com is the website. In the very top right corner of the website, locations, contact information of how to have them out to your home. And remember, they've got an office in Lafayette. They've got an office in Baton Rouge. You're not driving back and forth. They are there in those local communities. Go to the website today, pelicanroof.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet.
Boys ever met a real country girl? Talking true blue, out in the woods,
Welcome in to the best morning sports-ish show around. Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob.
Coming in with all the right tunes here this morning. Alondra killing it on the bump music. I'm sensing a little bit of a pattern. Hadn't quite picked up on it, but
I'm doing bro country for you.
You know, I appreciate that.
I'm trying to match the vibe of the host.
Look, you know, am I the biggest fan of bro country? Doesn't matter. That point's irrelevant. Because when people look at me, they're probably like, man, that guy listens to bro country.
Do you not?
Not as much as I used to. I'm more traditional country than anything. But, I mean, look, if She's Country by Jason Aldean comes on, I'm cranking up the volume.
Yeah,
I mean,
obviously.
that's happening.
Brother, She's Country.
I'm loving it. There are no complaints here. All right, look, teased it a little bit going into break. I want to mention a quick Saints segment here because Mickey Loomis early last week said the Saints' plan is to roll with Derek Carr. Despite Loomis saying that, the media did something very smart. They did not take Mickey Loomis at his word. That's just like blanket advice across the board. If you do that, you're right more times than not. So, despite Loomis saying they're rolling with Derek Carr, Justin Fields is continuously being linked to the New Orleans Saints. Multiple articles came out this weekend saying that the Saints could be one of the top fits for Justin Fields. And the reason they mention it is because of the hiring of Kellen Moore. I am here to tell you that I think this is an awful idea. If it's a quarterback you want to win with. If you want to tank, which I don't think the Saints do, we were just talking with Grant, they're still restructuring salaries. They still seem like they're in win now mode, even though they don't have the roster to do it, but that's just perpetually kind of what the New Orleans Saints do. Sure, Kellen Moore had success with Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley, which is why this whole conversation started to begin with, right? Jalen Hurts is a very good runner. Justin Fields is a very good runner. So he wins the Super Bowl with Saquon Barkley and Jalen Hurts. Can he do it with Justin Fields and Alvin Kamara? No. And here's why. Justin Fields is not Jalen Hurts. In my opinion, Jalen Hurts is a borderline top 5 quarterback in this league. Which, as a Cowboys fan, that is super tough for me to say, but, I mean, reality is what it is. What makes Jalen Hurts so good? Look, he's obviously improved drastically as a passer since he's been in the NFL. He was kind of a liability at times in that area in college. He's gotten so much better at it. But what makes Jalen Hurts so good, it's not his improved ability as a passer. He has a great ability to run. Jalen Hurts does not turn the football over. And everyone is going to point to this past season when Justin Fields started 6 games. Look, he started 6 games. They went 3-3 with him. He had 5 passing touchdowns, only 1 interception. And when you look at that off the top of your head, you're going to go, oh, hey, well, Justin Fields stopped his turnover issues. Bring him in with Kellen Moore, who did good things with Jalen Hurts, who also limits his turnovers. That seems like a match made in heaven. A turnover is a turnover. Doesn't have to be an interception. In the 4 years that Justin Fields has been in the NFL, he has 44 fumbles. 44, including 6 last year. So you could say, okay, we only threw 1 interception in 6 games. He had 6 fumbles in 6 games. Now, did he lose all 44 of those fumbles? No. Nobody's going to lose all 44 of their fumbles. But to me, it doesn't really matter. A fumble kills the play. You drop the ball, that play is dead right there where you drop that ball because you got to jump back on it. So I don't really care whether he lost the fumble or not. It's either, at worst, it's a turnover. At best, you get it back and you kill that play. Most of the time as a quarterback, you're now behind the chains because you lost yardage on that fumble. Some of these articles are also pointing out the Saints are not a great second chance spot, or not a great landing spot for second chance QBs due to the roster. Yeah, no kidding. But let's take Kellen Moore into consideration. Kellen Moore has been the offensive coordinator for the Dallas Cowboys, the Los Angeles Chargers, and the Philadelphia Eagles. Dak Prescott, Justin Herbert, Jalen Hurts. 3 very different QBs. Dak's kind of the guy that can do a little bit of both. Hurts is known as the runner. Justin Herbert, pretty much your typical traditional drop back pocket passer. Kellen Moore's had success with all three of those guys as his starting quarterbacks. And he's done it with three different style QBs. That tells me that Kellen Moore's offense is very QB friendly. That Kellen Moore knows how to adjust and call plays to work to the strengths of his quarterback. Because what do you hear all the time? Oh, well, this coordinator's trying to get his quarterback to fit his system. No. You get your system to fit your quarterback. That is what Kellen Moore's excellent at. And you can say, okay, well, the Saints have never been good at second chance QBs. They weren't under Dennis Allen, but Sean Payton did this multiple times. When Breeze was getting hurt late in his career, he put Teddy Bridgewater in there. Teddy Bridgewater went 4-1 as a starter, and it helped the Saints make the playoffs that year. Then even post-Breeze a little bit before Payton left. People may not remember this. Taysom Hill is 6-2 as a starting quarterback in New Orleans. Everyone thought it was going to be Jameis Winston when Drew Brees went down. Payton said he was rolling with Taysom Hill. Taysom Hill goes 6-2. I would take that all day. And then even with Jameis Winston, he was efficient. He only had thrown 2 interceptions when he was starting. Now, his is a little bit different because I personally believe Sean Payton was scared to let Jameis Winston throw the football, and rightfully so, because that was right after Jameis Winston was coming off his 30-interception season. He was 28th in the NFL in terms of pass attempts per game. So Payton really wasn't letting him throw the football. But he still played to the strength of his team. He leaned on the running game. He had an elite defense that year with Dennis Allen as the defensive coordinator. And he put Jameis in there and said, hey, don't turn the ball over. Don't make mistakes. We'll win this game. Good coaches find a way to make different quarterbacks work in their offense. We saw it with Payton, Breeze, Bridgewater, Taysom Hill, Jameis Winston. Kellen Moore's done it. Now, it's been at 3 different stops, but with 3 different quarterbacks. Dak Prescott, Justin Herbert, Jalen Hurts. Why can't he do that again? And I get it. The Saints roster's not great. I understand that, but they still have an opportunity to turn things around at least a little bit in the NFL draft. Now, do I have confidence they're going to do that? Not if Mickey Loomis is solely in charge. But depending on how much influence Kellen Moore has on draft day, sure, why not? Because I trust Kellen Moore's ability to put together a good offense and put together a system that helps his quarterback because he's done it everywhere he's been. So all this talk about, oh, well, if you're a second chance quarterback, I mean, look, Justin Fields is listed, Sam Darnold's listed, Daniel Jones is listed. The Saints have not done it in recent years, but that was with Dennis Allen, who was an awful head coach, who was in over his head, who had no idea what he was doing. Sure, Kellen Moore's a first-time head coach, but if he runs his team the way he runs his offense, he's going to be just fine. Because he's done it in multiple spots with multiple different styles of quarterbacks. Cowboys didn't have a ton around. I mean, their roster was better than the Saints, but they didn't have a ton around Dak. At least not outside CeeDee Lamb. You look at the Chargers. Who did Justin Herbert have? He had Keenan Allen. He had an aging Austin Eckler. His offensive line wasn't great. And Kellen Moore still made it work. Sure, the Eagles roster's stacked. I get it. Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley, Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown, Dallas Goedert. I understand that. But the 2 previous spots, I wouldn't call them stacked rosters. The Cowboys had a good roster, and I actually think the Chargers had a below-average roster that Kellen Moore made look good. I wasn't a fan of Kellen Moore when he first came to Dallas, but that was his first coordinating job. When you go look at what the shape of the Dallas Cowboys are in now compared to where Kellen Moore left, maybe I was wrong. Maybe it was Dak. Maybe it was the Cowboys. Maybe it wasn't Kellen Moore quite as much. Because he did a heck of a job with the Chargers, which is why he was only there for a short period of time, and he just won the Super Bowl with one of the most efficient offenses we've seen in recent years. So I don't think this was a Saints issue. I think this was a Dennis Allen issue. Payton had no problem doing it. I have no reason to believe yet that Kellen Moore can't do it. I need to see it, but he's done it so far in his career. Also, before we go to break, it has been reported that the Saints are expected to lose defensive end Chase Young in free agency. I'm okay with this. Look, we were just talking to Grant about Cam Jordan getting older. His production may not be quite what his contract is worth at this point. Chase Young is a big name. I think Chase Young is going to command a lot of money on the open market. Someone's going to overpay for him. Make sure it's not you. Look, I think Chase Young had a solid season with New Orleans. 31 total tackles, 5.5 sacks, 8 tackles for a loss, 21 QB hits. He was good. He played in all 17 games. That was a concern that the injury is going to catch up with him. He was healthy for the most part, but he wasn't outstanding. He was okay. I think you can get a guy in the draft. I think this is a very deep draft. I get it. Everyone's going to talk about Abdul Carter and Mike Green in the first round. I get all that. Jack Sawyer is projected late second, early third round right now out of Ohio State. Braden Swinson from LSU is going to be a day 2, day 3 pick. There are a ton of guys out there in this draft that can help you that you can get on rookie deals because let's not forget, you're still in cap hill. I am okay with letting Chase Young walk 100%. I know a lot of people have a lot of differing opinions about that. Again, Chase Young was good. Somebody's going to overpay for him. If you're the Saints, you literally cannot afford to overpay for him. You're already trying to cut down contracts. Don't overpay for somebody else just because you're blinded by some late season success. Move on from Chase Young. Rebuild that position in the draft. It's a good draft for defensive ends. It's a deep draft for defensive ends. Go get one. It doesn't even have to be in the first round. There's going to be quality guys, as I just mentioned, second, third, fourth round. You'll be fine. Move on from that. I'm good with it 100%. All right, look, we're going to take a quick timeout. When we get back, a couple of big-time NFL storylines. One involves Jaden Daniels and the Washington Commanders, and the other, a New York team, but not the Jets, the Giants. However, Aaron Rodgers still involved. We'll get to that on the other side here on Off the Bench.
Off the Bench.
All-Star Toyota of Baton Rouge.com. All-Star Toyota of Baton Rouge.com. If you're buying new, if you're leasing, if you're renting, and we've been telling you over the last couple of weeks, and well, next week is here, but if you've got a trip for Mardi Gras break, it is not too late. Call Miss Lisa Sessions today in the rental department, and if you need a midsize SUV, a full-size SUV, van, truck, hybrid, sedan, doesn't matter. Everything's available in that rental process, so make sure to get that done. But of course, if you're buying new or leasing, well, actually, maybe not leasing. Maybe you go some places and you only have like 3 options, one in each category. That's not the case over at All-Star. T-Bob and I have both taken full advantage of the rental process, leasing a vehicle, buying new. All 3, everything's going to be available. And we always tell you they have something for everybody. No matter what your needs are, what your family's needs are, they have got you taken care of. So go check out the full selection of vehicles at All-Star Toyota of Baton Rouge.com.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Looking for the ultimate game day experience? Come to the Queen Casino in Baton Rouge. Wall-to-wall TVs mean you'll see every touchdown in HD. Place your bets and feel the thrill of every play with our DraftKings Sportsbook. The Queen Casino, where every moment is a win.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111 your law firm for a lifetime.
At Atmos Energy, our smart choice solutions help customers save energy and emissions with rebates up to $500 off high-efficiency natural gas appliances, smart thermostats, and weatherization upgrades. Together, we're fueling our energy future.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler.
Sucker punch somebody on a sidewalk, carjacking old lady at a red light, pull a gun on the owner of a liquor store. It's cool, act a fool if you
Back to sports talk. Maybe. Off the bench.
Welcome back in. Monday edition of Off the Bench. Taylor Show up here with you. 104.5 ESPN filling in for a vacationing Jacob Hester and T-Bob Hebert. Okay, a lot of Saints talk the last two segments. We had Grant Sachere hop on with us. We talked a little Saints offseason, Saints draft, and then last segment, Justin Fields continuously linked to the New Orleans Saints. I explained why that I believe is a very bad idea. Right now, I want to mention two more quick NFL topics. Deebo Samuel has finally found a home. He was one of the bigger names to hit the trading block. It was announced about 2-3 weeks ago that the 49ers were allowing him to seek a trade. He has found a new home, and it's a big one for anybody who's an LSU fan. Deebo Samuel has been traded to the Washington Commanders, and all Washington had to give up was a 5th-round pick. I know everybody feels a certain way about Deebo Samuel. I think this is huge, and I think it's big for Jaden Daniels. Not only does it give Jaden another weapon, it also adds versatility to an offense that was already really versatile a year ago. Look at what Daniels has. Terry McLaurin's a stud. Terry McLaurin is a top 15 to 20 wide receiver in this league, no question about it. He has an aging Austin Eckler at running back. Brian Robinson Jr. has been in and out of the lineup. No problem. Deebo Samuel can slide in there and play running back. He did it multiple times out in San Fran when McCaffrey and Jordan Mason and all of them went down, and he actually played pretty well. He's played running back multiple times in his career. I get it. He's been underwhelming. I understand that. He's still a relatively young player, and he can definitely make an impact on an offense that, outside of Terry McLaurin, what do you have? I mean, Zach Ertz was big for this team in the playoffs. Zach Ertz is not getting any younger. He's been a good tight end for a number of years. I don't know how much he has left in the tank. And as good as Terry McLaurin is, the number 2 and 3 receivers on this team for most of the year was De'Ami Brown and Olamide Zaccheaus. If you don't know who those guys are, that's perfectly fine. That's pretty much my point. Luke McCaffrey was sprinkled in there as well. Solid players. Not bad. Zaccheaus came up with multiple big catches in the playoffs. De'Ami Brown, he was great on the deep ball, but those are not guys that you can rely on game in and game out to make the game-winning plays for you. McLaurin, sure. Outside of Terry McLaurin, I think Jaden kind of covered up a lot of problems on that offense. You get a guy like Deebo Samuel who can play out wide, who can play in the slot, who can play in the backfield if you need a running back. I really, really like this move for Jaden Daniels. Again, for no other reason than it gives you versatility. And yes, Jaden was great as a rookie. He was by far the best rookie quarterback in the NFL this year. You saw it. He won Offensive Rookie of the Year. He won all those things. He's still a young player. He needs all the help he can get. Dan Quinn, their head coach, is going to get that defense even better and better and better. He's got Kingsbury back as an offensive coordinator. Him and Jaden Daniels are only going to get more familiar with each other. What do? You add pieces to help you win because you're in win now mode. You learned that last year that there is no easing into it with Jaden Daniels. You are in win now mode right now. I think this was a really good pickup. And again, you only had to give up a 5th-round pick to get Deebo Samuel. Great. Awesome. Love the move. Another move that has not happened yet, but there are a lot of rumors that it might. Aaron Rodgers going back to New York, but not to the New York Jets. The New York Giants. We brought this up a couple weeks ago that Aaron Rodgers has reached out to the New York Giants saying, hey, somebody please take me. Well, since nobody wants to go to the New York Giants, they have now reached out to Aaron Rodgers. Not a good idea, in my opinion. You're putting together a bad, mismanaged franchise with a quarterback that's over the hill that has an ego problem. Now, as someone that doesn't really like any teams in the city of New York, I'm going to enjoy this from afar and watch the train wreck that I believe this is going to be. Look, Rodgers' numbers last year were actually better than a lot of people realize. I'm not saying that Rodgers is not a starting caliber quarterback in this league anymore, even though he has diminished a lot. Look, last year, Rodgers, 63% completion, 3,897 yards, so a hair under 4,000, 28 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. That's actually pretty solid numbers when you look at it on the surface. Take his on-field performance out of it. Whether you think he's still good, whether you think he's washed, kind of irrelevant to this particular point. He has been a negative on every team he has been on the last 5 years because he's a distraction and he's not a positive distraction. Let's think about the journey of Aaron Rodgers for just a second and what happens when things don't go well in New York. Aaron Rodgers wins a Super Bowl with Mike McCarthy. Okay, everything's going great. Green Bay's on top of the world. You have a young quarterback and a head coach that could be together for quite some time. Aaron Rodgers, because of his poor play in the playoffs, because of him turning the ball over in inopportune times, well, I can't win with Mike McCarthy. Well, that's okay, Aaron. We'll make a change. Who do you want? I want Matt LaFleur. Matt LaFleur's my guy. All right, cool. We'll get you Matt LaFleur. You do good in the regular season. You go to the playoffs. You once again fall flat on your face. Oh, well, it's clearly Matt LaFleur, right? It can't be Aaron Rodgers. It cannot be the great Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers wants out. Even though Matt LaFleur was his guy, he can't win with him either. It's clearly Matt LaFleur's fault. I want to go, and I want to pick my destination. I picked the New York Jets, knowing that Robert Saleh was their head coach, knowing the weapons I have on this team. This is the team that I want to go to. Cool. We'll trade you to the New York Jets. Well, guess what happens? We'll take year one as a loss. I get it. He tore his Achilles like 4 plays in. I'll give him a pass on that. This season, you can't win anything. So they move on from Robert Saleh because, once again, no way is this Aaron Rodgers' fault, right? And you actually have a worse winning percentage without Robert Saleh than you did with him. Let's put this into perspective for a little bit. Zach Wilson and Sam Darnold, both considered bust until this past year, both considered incredibly bad misses by the New York Jets in round 1 of the NFL draft. Wilson and Sam Darnold had better winning percentages with the New York Jets than Aaron Rodgers did. But that's okay. He gets to go on McAfee every week. Aaron Rodgers is going to be in the spotlight no matter what. How do you think this is going to end with the New York Giants? You got Malik Neighbors. He's great. He's a stud. Tyrone Tracy surprised a lot of people as a rookie last year. He did some nice things at running back. Is it sustainable? You don't have the greatest offensive line in the world. You're about to be 41 years old. Your head coach has been rumored to be fired every offseason for like the last 3 years. You have Joe Shane as your GM, which he was the laughingstock of the league this entire season because of Hard Knocks and what he said about overpaying for Saquon Barkley. How do you think this is going to go? You have a poorly ran, poorly managed franchise with the New York Giants. Now you want to bring in a 41-year-old quarterback with not a ton of weapons around him outside of Malik Neighbors. A decent offensive line, nothing great. An above-average running game. We don't really know what their defense is going to do. It's been hit and miss. Do you really think Aaron Rodgers is going to turn this around? And like, what sense does it make for the New York Giants? They're probably going to draft a young quarterback in this draft, as they should. But if you're bringing in Rodgers, you're going to want that quarterback to sit. Rodgers is going to know that. Rodgers, reportedly kind of felt some type of way about that when the Packers did it with Jordan Love. I imagine we're going to see a similar reaction here. Also, when you're bringing in Aaron Rodgers and you're going to pay him what Aaron Rodgers is going to demand, that essentially means you're in win-now mode. The New York Giants aren't close to competing for a Super Bowl with Aaron Rodgers without Aaron Rodgers, it doesn't really matter. I don't see how any of this is beneficial to the New York Giants. I get it for Aaron Rodgers. The market ain't exactly oversaturated for teams knocking on Aaron Rodgers' door. Rodgers is basically going to play for the Giants, the Titans, or he's going to sit at home on his couch like me on Sundays. So I get why Aaron Rodgers would want to go there. This makes no sense for me if you're the New York Giants. We'll see what happens. There's been a lot of rumors there. As a Cowboys fan, I hope it happens because I need somebody else to be in turmoil like my franchise. I don't think it should happen, though. I think this would be a really bad move by the New York Giants. All right, look, we're going to take a timeout. When we come back, we're going to close out hour number 2. And then in hour number 3, Zach Nagy of SI is going to hop on. We're going to preview spring football. We're going to do weekend winners at 9:15 instead of 9 a.m. Then we're going to close it out with Ask the Bench. That's all coming up next here on OTB.
Off the bench.
Yeah, look at my guy, Hunter Burns in the chat. Go Pels, baby. That's right. Go Pels and go Tommies. Tommy's Winners Society, GEAUX, What about this? Go Bearded. Okay, Tommy Kissinger, not just a window, hardy plank, vinyl siding, water vinyl windows, any type of door expert. He is an expert at all that. If you need any of that, energy efficient options, lifetime warranties, they got you. He also has a sick beard, but he realized he was getting in the beard game. He didn't have the product that he needed. And so he started a company, Go Bearded, GEAUXbearded.com. And if you want to live your best bearded life, live it to the fullest, grow it to the fullest, you need those products. GoBearded.com, GoTommies.com.
Yeah, when you go to GoTommies.com, you'll see what they can do for you. Always tell you there's great testimonials and galleries of what they've done in the greater Baton Rouge area, but also they can customize your job. Have Tommy and the team come out, tell them what you're looking for, and they will get it done. GoTommies.com.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
When it comes to choosing energy for your family and your home, make the smart choice with natural gas. You can count on efficient and affordable natural gas to keep you comfortable and reduce your environmental impact to help protect our planet. Together, we're fueling our energy future. Atmos Energy.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared towards seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225.
Back to sports talk. Maybe. Off the bench.
TrashRangers.com. TrashRangers.com. Bottom left of the website, you can sign up for residential service. Right in the middle of the website, commercial service. And then in the bottom right, sign up for that roll-off dumpster. Now, if you don't know what size roll-off dumpster you need, you've got a project at your home or your business, you pick up the phone, you give Trash Rangers a call. That is 225-363-9053. Hey, here's what I got going on. What do you think I need? And they're going to make sure you have the right size dumpster for your job. And look, I am jealous if you get to work with Trash Rangers because so many different things that they do for you, the customer. That's what they're all about. And that's why they're in the community so many different times. And you'll see them, support youth baseball teams, basketball, like whatever it is. They're all about you. Reliable and hassle-free trash removal services here in South Louisiana. Again, go to the website today to sign up, TrashRangers.com.
Welcome back in. Final segment, hour number 2 of a Monday edition of Off the Bench. Taylor Sharp here with you, filling in for Jacob Hester and T-Bob Hebert. Jake sent us a picture. He's got the cup of coffee in the ocean, looking nice. T-Bob, all he did was make ugly comments in the YouTube chat. So shout out to both of those guys. Hope they are enjoying their vacation. Guys, I mentioned this to you during break, and I intentionally did not tell you the movies. So, Cassie, I don't know how you are in terms of movies. I know, Alondra, at least for the classics, you've pretty much seen them all, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. I watch a ton of movies. Cassie, how are you with movie knowledge?
I watch a lot of movies. I'm like a big streamer. I like to watch lots of stuff.
Perfect. Last night was the Oscars. Okay. First off, they had 10 nominations for Best Movie. I kind of feel like you could narrow that down to 3. I want you guys to tell me if you've seen any of these.
Okay.
Because I watch a ton of movies, and I sat there last night and was like, I'm apparently not nearly as cultured as I thought I was, because I have seen 1 of the 10. Nora. Anybody seen it?
No. Nope.
Anybody know who even remotely is in it or what it's about?
Never heard it.
Something.
Okay, well,
I know she's in it. I know she's in it, but I don't know who else is in it.
How about The Brutalist?
No.
Never heard of that one.
A Complete Unknown. You've probably seen that one, right, Alondra, the Bob Dylan one, or did you not see it?
No, I saw A
Okay.
Complete Unknown. Great movie.
Conclave.
No.
Nope.
Nope.
Didn't think so. Dune Part 2. That's the one I've seen.
I still haven't seen it. I know what it is, but I haven't seen it.
No, I haven't seen Part 2 yet.
Amelia Perez.
Nope.
No. And I heard it sucked.
Well, it won every single thing. It did not win Best
No
Picture, but
way.
it literally
Okay,
won
I've
Best
seen-
Supporting Actress, Best Director, literally best, it's won 6 things.
That is insane because I've seen a clip that goes around Twitter of this movie, and it's Selena Gomez, and she's speaking Spanish. And she's
Zoe
speaking
Saldana's the other one.
She's speaking it terribly.
Well, others disagree, Alondra. How about Wicked? That's a popular one. Y'all seen that one, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I never saw Wicked, actually.
Well, for Best Picture goes Nora. And guys, I got to be honest with you. Again, I kind of feel like I have seen a lot of really good movies. Me and T-Bob sat here and talked about Nosferatu. Nope, didn't win a single thing last night. It was only nominated for 1 thing, and it was makeup design. Something like that.
I feel like horror movies or movies that are not
Those type of movies don't win. Yes. But see, that's why I kind of had hope for Nosferatu. That's a film. That is a 2.5-hour long movie. I wouldn't even call it a horror movie, but The Substance, that's apparently a horror movie. It was on this list. I've never seen it. I know Demi Moore's in it. That's about all I know.
Yeah.
I guess the point is we are so out of touch.
Yeah.
Apparently with what is hot, what is popular, anything like that. I watch a ton of movies. I had never seen any of
and
these.
I feel like I lost this 2-3 years ago.
It's all artsy now. It's what movie's the artsiest and all this.
I used to watch every single movie that came out, every A24 film that came out, every just big blockbuster that came out.
I thought I still did.
Yeah.
I thought I still did.
Yeah, I don't know.
All right, look, that's going to wrap up hour number 2. Coming up in hour number 3, we're going to have weekend winners at 9:15 because Zach Nagy, he covers LSU for Sports Illustrated. He's going to hop on at 9 o'clock. We're also going to talk some LSU men's and women's basketball. And, of course, we're going to wrap things up with Ask the Bench. If you missed the first 2 hours, hour 1 was very LSU heavy. I mean, we hit LSU baseball, LSU softball, LSU football. And then this past hour, Jaden Daniels got another weapon in Deebo Samuel. Aaron Rodgers might be going to the New York Giants. We talked all things New Orleans Saints. Hour 3, we're going to have a little bit of fun. That's all coming up, so stay tuned. Here on a Monday edition of Off the Bench, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Off the bench.
There it is, the extra mile. On the border of expected and extraordinary. For those willing to go further. Like vans customized for work or play. With safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Let's go, baby, let's go! All-Star Toyota presents Off the Bench with Jacob Hester and T-Bob Hebert.
Yeah!
Off the Bench with Jacob Hester and T-Bob Hebert.
Hey, they said I gotta come off the bench.
Now, here's Jacob Hester and T-Bob Hebert.
Welcome in to the hour number 3, a Monday edition of Off the Bench. Taylor Sharper with you, filling in for Jacob Hester and T-Bob Hebert. Coming up here in hour number 3, in just a few minutes, we're going to be joined by Zach Nagy, publisher of LSU Tigers on SI. We're also going to have weekend winners. It's going to be in a little bit different spot because Zach wanted to hop on at 9 o'clock. We're going to have weekend winners at 9:15. And then we're going to talk some LSU basketball, men's, women's. I certainly have a lot of thoughts on that. And then we're going to close out the show like we do every day with a little bit of Ask the Bench. As soon as we get Zach on, want to just kind of get a preview of LSU spring football. There's certainly a lot to talk about. An LSU D-line coach coming up, who they're going to replace with Bo Davis, top position battles to watch during spring. We're going to do all of that. We actually have Zach right now. Let's welcome onto the show Zach Nagy, publisher of LSU Tigers on SI. Zach, how are you this morning?
Doing good this morning. How about yourself, man?
Doing well. Thank you so much for hopping on because, look, we got a lot to talk about in terms of LSU. Obviously, spring practice coming up, beginning at the end of this week. The big question everybody wants to know, look, Bo Davis moving on from LSU to the New Orleans Saints. Where do you think LSU needs to go for D-line coach?
Yeah, I think it's a great question. I think ultimately you're going to have to find somebody who's an elite-level recruiter. Filling the shoes of Bo Davis is not one that's going to be easy. There was a reason he was the highest-paid defensive line coach in the country, and you got to find an elite-level recruiter, a player who can continue to develop relationships and more. And there was some buzz that Gerald Chapman from Florida, the Florida Gators was somebody who's going to be a potential target for them, but he decided to stay put in Gainesville with Billy Napier and company. So scratch him off the list. There's a couple different options you can go with here. Eric Henderson was one that a lot of people were talking about too. Ultimately, I'm not quite sure that's going to be one that fills the void either. So a lot of options here. Really intriguing to see how Brian Kelly and company kind of go out and fill this void.
As far as not necessarily who you're going to hire, just the loss of Bo Davis, what kind of impact do you think that makes for LSU, not just in the spring, but going forward all the way through 2025?
It's significant, man. I think Bo Davis, obviously, is one of the most respected coaches in the country for good reason. And like I was saying, elite-level recruiter doesn't quite do it justice. He's a guy who has continued to develop relationships with his players, coaching staffs, etc. And he's respected. He's earned that from everybody. And in the recruiting aspect, Taylor, is where I'm just going to have to continue to go on and on about. He is an elite-level recruiter and proved that time and time again. So just going out and trying to find some more bodies is going to be key, especially with him departing.
Not only that, Zach, and you're totally right, like his ability to recruit is elite, but I know you've been out there at fall practice. I've been out there at fall practice. Like anybody that's been out there has seen him. He's one of the best, if not the best coaches on the staff, like period, in terms of like getting these guys ready to play. I thought that the D-line played a little bit over its head this year, and in my opinion, all that was in large part to Bo Davis.
Yeah, and when you're out there, it's just pure intensity, right? Like he's in his guys' faces. He's not scared to say anything. He's just a fun guy to watch, and that's how you get the most out of your players day in and day out. And when you say they kind of played above, let's say, the talent level that they had on the roster, it's spot on. Obviously, he didn't have the group that he would have liked maybe from the jump. He inherited a challenging situation, right? But to go out and get the most out of his players day in and day out, I think it's a testament to the coaching ability that he has in going out and, like I was saying, get the most out of his players every single time. Seeing guys like Gio Paez succeed. Obviously, you lose Jacoby and Guillory, which was a shame. But you go out and have Ahmad Bro play above maybe what he was ranked coming out of high school, switching positions to the interior defensive line. It was fun to watch. I mean, Gio Paez was fantastic. Ahmad Bro was fantastic. You slide Paris Shand inside, and he looked fantastic. So it was fun to watch Bo Davis kind of work with the pieces that he had, get the most out of each and every one of them. Big shoes to fill, but you got to trust Brian Kelly to go out and make a big-time hire here, and I'm excited to see what he does with it.
Do you think LSU is – because, I mean, look, you got the spring portal window coming up. Do you think they're in danger of losing any of these D linemen over this Bo Davis departure?
I think it's a great question. I think that's kind of the million-dollar question, if you would say. You got some players on the roster that he recruited, obviously. It starts with guys like Ahmad Bro, Dominic McKinley, etc. For me, I'm shifting focus to that 2026 recruiting class. That's where I'm really looking at Richard Anderson. You got the number one player in the state of Louisiana committed to the program, the number 2 overall defensive lineman in the country committed to the program. So for me, I'm shifting focus to that 2026 class. and trying to make sure that you can lock down and keep Richard Anderson out of New Orleans, goes to Edna Carr. You want to keep him committed to the program. And then really when it comes to guys on roster, you want to keep players like Dominic McKinley, Ahmad Bro. You got Zion Williams committed as well. You want to keep those guys happy. So definitely got to keep them in the loop with this hire because you want to retain the players that you got on the roster. The long term, you also want to make sure Richard Anderson's happy too because that's kind of your crown jewel as it stands.
Zach, as far as a little preview of spring football, what do you think, maybe going into spring, top position battles you're watching heading into the summer?
It's a great question, and I think you can look at the quarterback position being settled. Running backs got some buzz, some juice. On the offensive side of the ball, I'm sitting there looking at the offensive line. You got guys that are coming in like Josh Thompson, Braylon Moore, your two transfers, that are certainly going to make an impact on day one. But that right tackle spot is where there's going to be some buzz and some juice. You're going to be watching that position battle closely. Weston Davis appears to be a guy right now that could have the edge, but I wouldn't be surprised to see others step in the mix as well. You could see Carius Kern potentially slip out there potentially. He's a big guy, so he's more of a guard. He plays an interior offensive line position, but I wouldn't be surprised to see him try to push for some offensive line reps as well. And then flipping to the other side of the ball, the defensive backfield, man, there's so many players to work with. At the cornerback slot, you have DJ Pickett, of course, who's fantastic. You got Jakeem Jackson. He's fantastic. You got Mansour Delane at the cornerback position, too. So you got a lot of players right there. For me, I'm looking at those two spots, the cornerback room and the offensive line. And right when those gates open, you know how it is at spring camp, right when the gates open, I'm running over to that cornerback room to check out what they have because I think that's the most revamped position in the entire team.
Yeah, 100%. Like you mentioned, Jakeem Jackson, Mansour Delane. You're bringing in DJ Pickett, who was just Mr. Everything coming out of high school. Zach, as far as the transfers, you mentioned a few of them there in the DB room, but just transfers as a whole, obviously Brian Kelly crushed it in the transfer portal class. Which one of those guys are you keeping an eye on in spring practice?
Yeah, it's Mansour Delane, man. I think he is so talented. He's a Swiss Army knife, jack of all trades, whichever you want to call it. I think he's so fun to watch, and I think you pair Corey Raymond and Jake Olson in the defensive backfield as coaches, really working with him and putting him under their wing. I think Mansour Delane has the chance to explode this season. I'm very excited to watch what he can do. And then DeMarcus Cooley, I think that's kind of a casual take. LSU went out and secured him from North Carolina State. He was sensational in 2024. To get him in Baton Rouge is key. So I think it's a nice 1-2 punch of transfers. Obviously excited to see Mansour and DeMarcus, but there's buzz surrounding DJ Pickett for good reason. I wouldn't be surprised to see him start week one at Clemson, man. He is so sensational. 6'4", 180, long, lengthy. He can do it all. So to watch those three, that's when, like I said, when those gates open, running over there and checking out and see those guys because I think they have so much talent in that room and that entire defensive backfield as a whole. Super excited to see what they're working with.
I know you talked about like O-line battles, cornerback battles, as far as like position battles, but like heading into spring, if I asked you biggest question mark for this team as far of a position, maybe like not a ton of depth, not a ton of returners, like what position would that be for you?
It'd be the safety room.
Yeah.
And I can kind of say that off the bat immediately just because, and I know it's a little contradictory because I just said I like DeMarcus Cooley in that safety room. But other than that, that's where it gets a little bit tricky. You flip Javian Toviano to that room. And he's a player that's going to be sitting there for the 2025 season continuing to adapt. But that should be where his bread and butter's at. That's where he was recruited to play. Sensational player back there. So DeMarcus Cooley and Javian Toviano, those are the two guys that I have high expectations for. You return Jordan Gilbert. You return Deshaun Spears, who's a player that I've been high on since day one. Right there at Denham Springs, it's a fantastic player out of Louisiana. So excited to see what that room has. But it's a little thin. I would have liked to have seen them go out and get another safety in the portal as well. But nonetheless, you got DeMarcus Cooley, Javian Toviano, Jordan Gilbert, Deshaun Spears, etc. You got some guys in that room, but I'm excited to see where that talent gap is. Excited to see what rotations Jake Olson elects to work with right off the bat during spring camp. So I think there's a position battle there brewing, some players that are capable, and we'll see maybe if they go out and get another safety during the spring portal window as well if they're not necessarily satisfied with the competition level in that room.
I guess that's kind of like the big thing. Like, okay, it's hard to poke holes in LSU's transfer portal class, right? I mean, they did such a good job. That was maybe my one concern was, yeah, you brought in DeMarcus Cooley. To your point, he was a great player at his previous stop, but that's the only guy you brought in, and you lose a Sage Ryan. And look, I get it. LSU fans had whatever opinion of Sage Ryan they wanted to, he's still a guy that had been in this program a number of years, started a lot of games. Like, you basically return Jordan Gilbert, that's it. And then you bring in TaMarcus Cooley. I mean, you just mentioned JV and Toviano. I love Deshaun Spears. I mean, he's a guy that's 6'3", 210. I mean, who do you think is going to get the first crack at it? Because I think TaMarcus Cooley, they brought him in to start, no question about it. On the other side of him, who do you think is going to get the first crack at that spot?
Yeah, another beautiful question. I think when it comes down to it, JV and Toviano could be the player that they go to early. Obviously, he was taking those first-team reps during bowl prep, got some big-time snaps during the Texas Bowl. So I think that's a player that they have high expectations for. I love Deshaun Spears, so I don't want to go out and kind of write him off when it comes to early in camp, because I think they're high on him too for good reason. But like you said, TaMarcus Cooley, I'm penciling him in. They went out, they secured him from the portal over a bunch of potential suitors like Ole Miss, et cetera. So put TaMarcus Cooley in there on day one. Excited to see how he works. And then next to him, I'm going to put JV and Toviano in there for now. Obviously, Jordan Gilbert has the upper hand from an experience perspective, but I think JV and Toviano could be a guy that could kind of turn some heads sooner rather than later. Really excited to see what he can do there.
Zach, at least on paper, Zach Nagy joining us right now, publisher of LSU Tigers on SIs. On paper, this looks like one of Brian Kelly's most talented teams heading into the season, if not the most talented. How much pressure do you think is on BK heading into this year?
Yeah, I think the kind of expectations are rising, obviously, with the number one transfer portal class. And with expectations comes kind of that heat, right? Everybody has. Like I said, the expectations get higher and higher. You got the number one transfer portal class in the country with a bunch of headliners: Patrick Payton, Jack Piver, Mansour Delane, TaMarcus Cooley. You went out and got another quarterback in Michael Van Buren. I mean, you are sitting there in good position from a roster reconstruction perspective, but that also means that expectations are going to rise. You have no more mulligans, is how I'd like to put it. First 3 years were a little shaky last year. 9-4 just isn't going to cut it if you include that Texas Bowl victory. So it's Baton Rouge, right? It's LSU. It's a championship or bust season, it seems like, every time in Death Valley. So you always want to go out and exceed expectations. We saw him kind of do that in year one, and since then regress a little bit. So now it's hot now. Now you got to go out and have a big-time season, and I'm excited. I think Brian Kelly has pieced together a sensational staff. You go out and you fill a defensive line coach spot, and you're going to be in a good spot. I think Brian Kelly's done an excellent job when it comes to piecing together a staff and then also getting his roster in check for the season. There's a nice blend between returning pieces and fresh faces. Getting Garrett Nussmeier back was obviously step one. Getting Harold Perkins back too. With Weeks getting back up to speed is key for this team too. So I think from a roster construction perspective, they've done a really good job to be competitive in 2025. A coaching staff where you bring back a Corey Raymond, Jake Olson as well, Blake Baker. The defensive side looks good. So I'm excited to see what they can do, but expectations are rising in Baton Rouge for good reason, and I think that's great for this team.
Zach Nagy. Zach, thank you so much for hopping on with me this morning.
I appreciate it, man. You have a good one.
Yep, you too. That was Zach Nagy right there, publisher of LSU Tigers on SI. All right, look, we're going to take a quick time out. When we get back, we're going to hit weekend winners. We normally do it at 9 a.m. Had to adjust things a little bit, but that's coming up here on the other side. You're on Off the Bench.
Off the Bench.
Go to Central Plumbing, 925-8552, centralplumbing.org, centralplumbing.org, centralplumbing.org. You got plumbing problems? Go to the place that's been solving them for 50 years with flat rate pricing, licensed, bonded, and insured employees, excellent warranty work coverage once the work is done. Peace of mind every step along the way. Like, how did they grow so much over 50 years? How do you stand the test of time? How do you have this massive fleet now ready to meet all of Baton Rouge's needs? Because your customers are consistently satisfied. But, Jake, it's not just when things go wrong.
It is not.
Stanley Jean-Baptiste.
I knew something hurt you. If you're looking to upgrade at your home or your business, they can certainly come in. They can do that. I always tell you, go Central Plumbing. Go tankless today with a tankless water heater. Never run out of hot water. Again, that's something they can give you over at centralplumbing.org.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, Our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Parish Construction and Roofing.
This is Coach Kim Mulkey. Go to parishbuilt.com for all of your roofing needs.
Well, it's been some time. You still look like an angel. I heard you're doing fine. Got promoted back in April.
Welcome in to the best morning sports-ish show around. Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob.
Dad says he's okay.
Welcome back in. Monday edition of Off the Bench. Taylor Sharp here with you. Coming back in with a little bit of Zach Top. Has anybody heard the rumor that people started that like Zach Top is Alan Jackson's kid?
I have seen this rumor, but I mean, that one's just so far-fetched that I don't even care.
No, but I love a good, I know you do.
Yeah.
I love a good conspiracy theory. And
I know, that's one that I can't get behind, though.
Yeah.
The conspiracy theories for me have to be somewhat believable. Like, there has to be some sort of, like,
you can't just throw anything out there.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, guys,
Most
look.
of the ones I believe turn out to be true, so.
What is the accuracy rate on conspiracy theories?
For mine, for like the past few years, they've been pretty dang accurate.
You're 100%?
I don't know about 100%. I would say about 85.
That's still pretty good numbers, so we'll take it. Speaking of taking it, let's do it right now. We're going to do a little bit of weekend winners.
That's how winning is done.
That's right! We can't have anyone freak out there, okay? We've got to keep our composure. We've got too far.
I'm by winning. I win here and I win there. Now what?
Are you doing what it takes to win a championship?
Wow, winning.
Well, then I guess there's only one thing left to do.
What's that? Win the whole thing.
All right, my first weekend winner is going to be the Los Angeles Rams, despite their little tiff, if you will, with quarterback Matthew Stafford, they are bringing him back. He has got a new deal. The contract's length is going to run through 2026. So it is a 2-year deal. We have not heard the amount per year. That has not been released yet. However, multiple sources are saying that Stafford will receive a significant raise. This is according to Albert Breer of Sports Illustrated. Stafford's current deal was set to pay him $27 million this year, so he'll get a big bump from that. Word was that the Raiders offered him a 2-year, $90 million deal, so I imagine it is somewhere in that ballpark if he decided to stay with the Rams. Look, I get it. That is a lot of money for an aging quarterback, but Matthew Stafford's still a really good player. I mean, Matthew Stafford is a top 10 quarterback in the NFL. He was this close to beating the Philadelphia Eagles in a snow game on the road. This is a roster that has a lot of young pieces. I get it. They're moving on from Cooper Kupp. They still have Kyron Williams. You still have Puka Nacua. You're going to add weapons. The defense is getting better and better. The Rams are in win-now mode. And who better to win with than a guy that has won a Super Bowl with Sean McVay already in Matthew Stafford? I think this is a great pick. So first weekend winner for me, the Los Angeles Rams.
And Matthew Stafford, I suppose you can add him to that.
Yeah, he got a bag.
Okay, you know me. I'm going to go weekend loser. My weekend losers this week, you also know that I love to hate on the Texas A&M Aggies.
Yes.
So
a lot of us do, yeah.
The Aggies
easy target.
Came into the season ranked number 1. So much hype. I kept seeing viral videos of Jace Laviolette hitting these bombs. Lost 4 in a row in Texas this week. And
yeah,
I love it. Lost to Cal Poly. Lost to Texas State. Eat 'em up, Cats. Lost to Arizona State. Lost to Oklahoma State. Or no, just Arizona.
They
not
lost
Arizona
to
State.
Cal Poly?
Yeah.
Those guys are becoming like scientists and crap. They don't play baseball at Cal Poly. What the hell?
Okay, it wasn't Arizona State. It was Arizona. Lost to Arizona. Lost to Oklahoma State. They do beat Rice last night, but nobody cares. So they drop out of the top 10, which should have never, honestly, they shouldn't have been they should not have been number 1. We were talking about this earlier. They were number 1 because they were in the College World Series. Jim Schlossnagle was their coach. Somebody, SEC Unfiltered, tweeted this thing about how Texas is off to a hot start in baseball this season, and they're like, is anybody surprised by this? I'm not, because the coach that had Texas A&M ranked number 1 is now the coach for the Texas Longhorns, so that's not surprising to me at all. And it's not surprising to me that Texas A&M is not doing well at all either, because their head coach is a hitting coach who has never been a head coach before, and the SEC, Texas A&M decided, you know what, it's a great idea to have this hitting coach who's never been a head coach before, ever, young guy. We're going to have him coach our team that was just in the College World Series. Great idea from the Aggies. I love it. Keep losing. That's all I want. They're ranked, 14th now, I think it was.
Yeah,
so
1 to 14 in like a
10.
3-week period is a tough scene. That's why the other day I was saying that I appreciated Jim Schlossnagle, because he did me a solid. Guys, it's almost like it was all Jim Schlossnagle and Texas A&M doesn't actually have a good athletic program. Funny how that works. Cassie.
Winner.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, sorry.
No,
winner,
no. Your winner ties right into it.
Winner. LSU ranked number 1 on D1 baseball rankings.
Look at us. Look at us. Who would have thought? Look at us.
I think I just took Cassie's.
Yeah, I don't really have any winners. I guess maybe a loser. I had to pick up my parents from the airport on Friday afternoon.
Loser, Cassie's parents. Yes, for sure.
Well, and their flight got delayed, so I had to pick them up at like 10:45.
At night?
Yeah.
Oh.
So
where were they coming from?
That was rough. From California. My dad had a work trip.
Oh,
so
okay.
It was
rough. No. In New Orleans?
Yep.
And then you had to come back to Baton Rouge?
Yeah.
Or you stayed there?
Well, I stayed because I went to the
Mardi Gras
parades.
yeah.
I guess that might be my winner. Like the Mardi Gras
Mardi Gras
parades.
parades.
Were fun. That was fun.
Yeah, did you get any good beads?
I did.
Yes. You know, like so many people, maybe this is another reason why I don't like parades. So many people are like, I got to get the good beads with the Mardi Gras hat and the big doubloons all over it.
I don't care.
What the hell are you going to do with it once you leave the parade?
What do you do with it?
You're 35 years old. What are you going to do with it?
What are we doing?
You're wearing it to work on Monday morning? No.
It's fun to catch, and then I'll give it to my grandma because I don't care to keep it.
But like you see people fighting each other over
but then
these
what do
beads.
you keep it for?
what are you going to do with it?
Right.
Hang it on your rear view mirror
Yeah,
in
and
your
then
car?
what?
Like what? My first weekend loser, because I have two, is going to be Isaiah Bond of the University of Texas. Now, Isaiah Bond ran a 4.40 in the 40-yard dash. And I know what you're thinking. Well, hell, that's a really good time. It is. But earlier in the week, Isaiah Bond said, guys, no question about it, I'm breaking the NFL Combine 40-yard dash record held by former Texas Longhorn wide receiver Xavier Worthy at a 4.21. Not only did Isaiah Bond not even get close to a 4.21, running a 4.4, his teammate, Matthew Golden, who had a much better season, who's going to be drafted much higher, ran a 4.23. So he was very close to breaking it. Isaiah Bond, not even in the vicinity. I'm never going to knock anybody for running a 4.4 because that's a really good time. You cannot say, I am going to break the NFL Combine 40-yard dash record and not even come close. You set yourself up there for failure. So my first weekend loser, Isaiah Bond from the University of Texas. Anybody else have a loser or winner?
I don't know. I don't know if I want to bring this up because I don't know too much about it, but kind of weekend loser for me. So at the Oscars, if you remember well, you probably don't remember, but like a long time ago, there's been this viral video. They tried to cancel him. Adrian Brody kissed Halle Berry on stage at the Oscars 22 years ago. She was like, what is going on? It was super weird behavior from Adrian Brody. We can all agree on that. 22 years later, last night, Halle Berry went up to Adrian Brody on the red carpet and starts making out with him in front of his wife.
So weekend loser, Adrian Brody's wife.
Well, I would say Adrian Brody's wife is the weekend loser because no matter what the circumstances are, sure, maybe 22 years ago he might have I don't know, been weird to Halle Berry. Yes, I get it. He shouldn't have done that. But and this isn't on Halle Berry. This is on Adrian Brody's wife. I would not sit there and watch somebody make out with my husband. You throw
in hands.
And then clap. She was sitting there clapping. Yeah, I'm throwing hands on the red carpet.
Will they say it's on site?
It's on site on the red carpet. I don't care where we're at. You're not doing that.
Weekend winner,
Halle Berry.
Adrian Brody.
Right.
No, Adrian Brody. Halle Berry comes up, and Adrian Brody also won Best Actor for The Brutalist. So big night for our guy Adrian Brody. Now, did he have to sleep on the couch? Probably, but everything leading up to that night.
Well, actually, I don't know. It seemed like she didn't care.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
that's true. Maybe she didn't. Maybe she's into that sort of thing.
Daniel Basham in the chat says she should have Will Smith him. Absolutely.
No, she should have Will Smith her. That's what that would have been way more interesting.
Yeah.
Will Smith and her would have been way more interesting. Also, Halle Berry is 58 years old.
She looks great.
She looks great, but I also feel like Halle Berry's been in her mid-50s for 15 years now.
Fair.
I was like, oh, Halle Berry's got to be 65. No, she's 58. I feel like she's been 58 for 10 years.
Yeah.
The math ain't math in there.
She looks great.
My second weekend loser is your boy's golf game. Guys, was not a pretty sight. We almost hit a house. I maybe nicked 3 or 4 squirrels along the way. It was a tough scene. The only thing I was good at was putting. Why? They gave me a right-handed putter instead of a left-handed putter. So maybe that's on me. Maybe I need to reevaluate a few things. But weekend loser for me is ya boy's golf game.
Okay, I hate to be super negative, but I have a couple more weekend losers.
Why are we not surprised?
Just a weekend of just losses. D1 Baseball's stream.
I have heard about this.
The LSU baseball game, loser. D1 Baseball, weekend losers. It's kind of like a smaller scale of the Tyson Paul fight where you're like, I'm going to put on this event and I'm going to stream this broadcast and it's going to be great. And then it's like, you can't get in you have to wait in a queue. You can't get in, it's lagging. It sounds terrible. Yeah, weekend losers, D1 baseball. And to add to the Texas A&M weekend loser, I have to give one to Shane's, I don't know how to say his last name, Dow, maybe the S is silent. He's a pitcher for Texas A&M. Put out a statement basically being like, some of the things that I'm seeing on X and Instagram are absolutely disgusting and ridiculous. He's mad that people are criticizing Texas A&M's baseball team on social media, which I'm really sorry to break it to you, but if you're a athlete and you're worried about what people are saying on social media about you, you are a loser.
Well,
and that's
you're
why
also
Texas A&M are losers.
You're also not in the right headspace if you do that, which maybe contributes to your poor play. But also, here's the thing. I heard for years, stop criticizing college athletes. I always thought it was a little bit of a gray area. But here's the thing. You wanted NIL money. You wanted revenue sharing. Guess what? You're getting paid like an adult. You're going to get treated like an adult. Welcome to the real world a little bit for college athletes. A little bit of a wake-up call. Professional athletes deal with this all the time. Unless your name is Kevin Durant, you don't see these professional athletes getting on the internet, making burner accounts, defending themselves. They go on about their day because they know that it comes with the territory. Guess what? It comes with the territory now. You want to get paid like an adult? You're going to get treated like an adult. Sorry, not sorry for that one. All right, look, we're going to take a quick timeout. When we get back, we're going to recap LSU men's and women's basketball. Spoiler alert, neither of them played very well over the weekend. We'll break that down when we get back here on Off the Bench.
Off the Bench.
You gotta believe in a dream. Believe. You gotta believe in a dream. Believe. You gotta believe. My whole team on wild.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Looking for the ultimate game day experience? Come to the Queen Casino in Baton Rouge. Wall-to-wall TVs mean you'll see every touchdown in HD. Place your bets and feel the thrill of every play with our DraftKings Sportsbook. The Queen Casino, where every moment is a win.
At Atmos Energy, our smart choice solutions help customers save energy and emissions with rebates up to $500 off high-efficiency natural gas appliances, smart thermostats, and weatherization upgrades. Together, we're fueling our energy future.
more sports talk with some other stuff mixed in. Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob.
Welcome back into Off the Bench. Taylor Sharp here with you, filling in for T-Bob A-Bear and Jacob Hester. We got Alondra Villarreal here. We got Cassie Spazzali here. We are with you all week long. Both of those guys on a much-deserved vacation. All right, look, I want to hit a little bit of LSU basketball here, and I want to do men's and women's because they both had similar weekends. We'll start with the men. They played the first game on Saturday. They fall to Mississippi State 81-69. Look, I'm not here to tell you that LSU lost the basketball game. This team's not very good. We know that they lost the basketball game. What's more concerning to me is that I don't really see where this team is improving. You know, last year, Matt McMahon's team went on that run. They wound up finishing 9-9 in conference play. Obviously, that's completely out of the window. But let's just look at a little bit forward. Because LSU already said Matt McMahon's coming back. We're going to give him more NIL money so that he can recruit a little bit better. But outside of Cam Carter, you have very little on this team. Cam Carter had 23 points. That's all you had. And it's really all you've had all season. Damian Collins added 10 points. Outside of that, nobody else in double figures. You're also a very poor rebounding team. And once again, you have been all season long. Jai Bailey, your 6'5" guard, led your team in rebounding on Saturday with 6. That cannot happen, especially in the SEC. Post play for the team, it's been bad all year. Collins and Chest have shown flashes. Damian Collins, every now and then, he'll go in there and he'll make a play and you'll be like, oh, wait a minute, maybe we got a little something. Corey Chest as well, even though he's been in and out of the lineup with injury. The problem is the consistency just isn't there. We always go back to Jalen Reed, right? Everyone at the beginning of the year said, hey, this is a big loss. And then Collins and Chest started stepping up. Oh, well, you know, it's actually not that big of a loss. Then a game like this happens and you're like, no, he was. Jalen Reed, 100% a big loss. Here's the bigger issue I have. I don't know how much better this team would be with Jalen Reed. Because while Jalen Reed was much improved in his post play from year 1 to year 2, you still had a lot to be desired there. Mississippi State blocked 7 shots on Saturday. Do you know how many shots LSU blocked? I'll give you a hint. They blocked the same number of shots as I did, a big fat 0. Look, McMahon's going to be back another year. We know that. The NIL budget is supposed to improve. We've been told that as well. But things have to change in recruiting in a big way. You hit on Cam Carter. But outside of that, you got a couple tweeners because none of them are great post players, but also you don't have a ton of three-point shooters outside, of course, of Cam Carter. Saw a troubling stat over the weekend. A buddy of mine sent it to me. In the months of January through March, as the head coach at LSU, Matt McMahon is 14-41 through the months of January and March in his 3 years here. Guys, it's just not good enough. It's one of those things where it's like, okay, well, this team's going to get better as the season goes along. They certainly did that a year ago. Again, we talked about it. They had lost, 6 SEC games in a row. McMahon actually took his team on a run last year. They finished 9-9 in conference play. Everyone was hoping, hey, can they build off of that, right? They had a 500 record in conference last year. Probably played a little bit better than their talent showed a year ago. I gave them credit for that. However, I think LSU's program as a whole is taking a big step back this year. And you can see it. Because essentially, if LSU has Cam Carter and he doesn't score 30 points, they're going to lose that game pretty much every single time. Sometimes even when he scores 28 to 30 points, they're only getting these 2, 3, 4-point victories. The talent's just not there. Again, you've seen flashes from Damian Collins. You've seen flashes from Corey Chest. Jordan Sears is moving on at the end of the year. Cam Carter is moving on at the end of the year. What do you have? Maybe a Victorious Miller returns. Maybe he doesn't. I mean, look, with the transfer portal, your roster could be completely different from one year to the other. What are you going to have backcourt-wise? Even if you get Jalen Reed, Damian Collins, and Corey Chest, all 3 back next year, what does the rest of your team look like? I get it. They're supposed to be giving LSU basketball more support in recruiting. But things have to change, and they have to change in a big way. This program has taken a big step back this year. And obviously, I'm not just talking about wins and losses. Anybody can look at wins and losses and be like, oh, hey, well, they had a better record last year than they did this year. Yeah, but it's the way they're playing. It's the way they're losing games. They played team basketball a year ago. They're not doing that this year. It's really just, if I get a rebound, if I get a second chance opportunity, let me look around and see where Cam Carter is, get him the ball. Look, as great as he played in that road win a few months ago, remember he had like 7 points in the last 20 seconds. He was able to win the game. If you go watch a replay of that game, anytime an offensive rebound was caught by an LSU player, they would catch it. They wouldn't shoot it. They'd look around, let me get the ball to Cam Carter. Because it's the only guy who can be trusted to make shots consistently on this team. I don't really know where the basketball program goes from here, but you got to bring in way more talent. Things have to change in a big way. All right, moving on to the LSU women's. It wasn't much better for them. They lose 85-77 to Ole Miss. It's actually their second loss in a row. And if you remember, they kind of stole one from Kentucky on the road last Sunday. That was a game, they were trailing the Wildcats by 12 points heading into halftime. They stormed back thanks to Michaela Williams, Anissa Morrow, players like that. Now look, they've already locked up a 3 seed in the SEC tournament. I've never cared about NCAA tournament seeding. I get it. They say, oh, well, you get the best teams late instead of early. I don't care, because what you want to do is win a national championship. If you're going to make it that far, you have to play all these good teams anyways. I don't really care when you play them. If you're good enough to beat them, you're good enough to beat them. But the struggles lately are certainly troubling, because you have to get more scoring out of your role players. Yesterday, Michaela Williams, who, in my opinion, the best player on this basketball team. I don't know if there's 10 players in college basketball better than Michaela Williams. She dropped 25 points. Anissa Morrow, 28 points, 12 rebounds. Her 100th career double-double. She is an absolute rebound magnet. Those two players are always going to bring it. But you need others to step up even more. Even more so now that Flau'jae Johnson is out until the NCAA tournament. If you remember when they went on the road and lost to Texas about 2 weeks ago, Flau'jae Johnson was battling a little bit of a shin injury. It's apparently gotten worse. She had one of her worst games of the season against Alabama in that loss during the midweek, and things just didn't look right. Kim Mulkey announced on Saturday they're shutting her down for the remainder of the regular season and into SEC play, but she is projected to be back for the March Madness tournament. You had 3 players that you could count on offensively consistently. Kayla Williams, Anissa Morrow, Flau'jae Johnson. Now you take Flau'jae out of the equation. Somebody else is going to have to step up. Who can that be? You've seen Jaden Gilbert do it a few times. She's shown flashes, been a little bit inconsistent. She's coming off the bench. She is your best scorer off the bench. But outside of that, you don't have a ton coming off the bench scoring-wise. And Miracle Shepherd had an outstanding game against Alabama. She hit the 3 late to send the game into overtime. It was only her second 3-pointer made all season long. So even her, the flashes we've seen from her, the consistency hasn't quite been there where we want it. Look, the Bama loss and the Kentucky win, you struggled mightily out of the gate. You were down 12 at halftime to Kentucky. You had an incredible third and fourth quarter. You end up winning that game. You were down 11 to Bama at halftime. You didn't have quite enough. You lost that game in overtime. Against Ole Miss, it was because you collapsed down the stretch. You had the really hot start. So if you're watching the game yesterday, you're like, okay, well, they fixed their issues. They're not off to the slow start that they were. Here comes the run. Essentially, Anissa Morrow and Michaela Williams ran out of gas because they're having to carry this entire team right now offensively. You don't have the post players. And honestly, outside of Williams and Flau'jae when she's healthy, your 3-point shooting hasn't been great either. I think this team has a lot of talent. But you got to get more production out of your role players. These younger players are going to have to step up, even when Flau'jae Johnson returns, but especially with her out. If you can't do that, I don't know how far this team can go in the NCAA tournament. Now, you have a coach in Kim Mulkey who can mask a lot of deficiencies. We've seen it all year long, right? Because every team has an Achilles heel. A couple weeks ago, we talked about, oh man, UConn shut down South Carolina. They beat them by almost 40 points on the road at South Carolina. What happened? UConn got out to a big lead, and people realized, hey, South Carolina doesn't have that great of three-point shooting. LSU has struggled in the post all year long. Problem is, what happens if Williams and Morrow and Flaugier, heaven forbid, they all go down? Or one of them has an off night shooting. For example, Flaugier Johnson, 6 points against Alabama. Not her fault. She was playing through injury, but you didn't have anybody step up, take over those points that were lost by a Flaugier Johnson, and you lose that game. Same thing here. I mentioned Williams, 25 points, Morrow, 28. Jaden Gilbert came off the bench to give you 11. Outside of that, nobody else in double figures. Very similar to the men's game. You had 2 players in double figures. Nobody else stepped up. For the women, you had 3 players in double figures. Nobody else stepped up. They're going to have to find a little bit more consistency. I think the women are going to be fine. Obviously, they're not in nearly as bad a shape as the men, but you got to get a little bit of confidence going on some of these role players. Again, Morrow, Williams, Johnson, they're all going to bring it, but can you find more scoring outside of those 3? All right, it has been a jam-packed show. We are almost about to wrap things up. That'll pretty much do it. Coming up on the other side, though, get your questions in the YouTube chat. When we come back, we're going to close things out as we do every day with Ask the Bench.
Off the bench.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared towards seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Looking for the ultimate game day experience? Come to the Queen Casino in Baton Rouge. Savor game day platters and snacks, plus drink specials at 1717 Kitchen and Cocktail. So come out for game day and let our team make you the MVP. The Queen Casino, where every moment is a win.
Parish Construction and Roofing. This is Coach Kim Mulkey. Go to parishbuilt.com for all of your roofing needs. From your hometown, parishbuilt.com.
When you can't rely on technology, you can rely on Mountain Cold Refreshment.
Dave's back on.
Coors Light. Choose chill.
When it comes to choosing energy for your family and your home, make the smart choice with natural gas. You can count on efficient and affordable natural gas to keep you comfortable and reduce your environmental impact to help protect our planet. Together, we're fueling our energy future. Atmos Energy.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing.
Pour me another drink. Cause I don't wanna feel a thing. I just wanna
Back to sports talk. Maybe. Off the bench.
Welcome back into the final segment of Monday's edition of Off the Bench, and the final segment for you of Bro Country for your Monday. We had been rocking with the Bro Country bump music all day long, and
I mean, you asked for it.
Oh, did I?
You said play my favorite genre.
Oh, okay.
And I said I got you.
Okay, yeah. Well, look, I'm not complaining over here. Well, we'll take it. Right? It's like Bro Country or Nickelback. Which one are we rolling with?
Yeah.
On any given day. So that's where we're at. All right, look, we're in the show today, as we do every day, with a little Ask the Bench. And this first one is for Alondra and Cassie, because I myself am not Catholic.
Okay.
Ask the Bench, are y'all giving up anything for Lent?
Yes, I always do.
What are we giving up?
I haven't fully decided yet, but probably soda.
So do you have to decide by Tuesday?
I mean, you just got to do it by the time Lent starts. So yeah, I guess.
Okay.
So Wednesday, I guess. But like probably soda, because I've been going a little too ham on the Dr. Pepper.
I don't blame you.
Or alcohol. I don't know. But I don't like really drink alcohol that much, so I guess it wouldn't be like, I don't know. It'll probably be soda or both. I'll probably do both.
Cassie?
I've been thinking about it because, like, I don't know what to give up. Because, like, I don't really
Cassie's
eat
not
candy.
willing to give anything up, if
Yeah.
you're wondering. That's
Terrible
what it
Catholic.
Well, I don't really eat candy. I don't really drink soft drinks. And Chick-fil-A is too important to me to give up. So
see, that's
I
why you have
can't-
to give it up, though.
No, but, like, I get Chick-fil-A at least once a week. It's so
Okay,
bad.
and Jesus died on the cross for you.
I know.
Okay, so this just then, Cassie, too perfect to change anything,
No,
so she doesn't
no.
actually have to give anything up. She doesn't do anything wrong.
Doesn't want to suffer.
That's false.
Sticking with the Mardi Gras theme of things, this one, Daniel Basham asked me, no shocker there. Ask the Bench, would Taylor throw me something in a parade if I flashed him? I absolutely would. That's probably the only way I would throw you anything. It makes parades a lot more fun for everyone involved. Those around you get a show. If you don't enjoy the show, you can laugh and point and have a good time. I'll probably do the same thing.
Yeah.
I'll laugh, I'll point, and I'll go ahead and throw you some beads as well. Great one there. Nookie asked, would you ever consider adding a shower AR-15? Okay, guys, listen. This joke has gone on for so long, and I love it. I poorly described what was going on. People believe I have a shotgun in my shower. I do not. I have a shotgun in the corner of my room. It just happens to be behind the door that leads to my bathroom, and my shower is right there at the corner. It's quickly accessed from the shower, but no, I do not have a gun rack in the actual shower. Would I consider a shower AR-15? Probably not, because they price the crap out of those things. Every year they're like, oh, we're going to ban this. They never do. People freak out. They price them. They're like $1,500 for a cheap one. Probably not. That's just something that I don't see why I would need a practical use for that. Okay, here's one. Ask the Bench. Y'all's favorite. Alondra's going to love this because people in Texas believe they have the best barbecue.
Oh, yeah.
Ask the Bench. What's y'all's favorite?
It's not a belief. It's just fact.
I don't know if I've ever had, like, legit Texas barbecue.
Well, you need to.
Or Kansas City either, I guess.
Yeah.
I've been to Memphis one time. All right, Ask the Bench. Y'all's favorite barbecue food?
It's brisket. Or give me a nice beef rib. Like, oh, my God. I'm effing that beef rib up. Yeah.
I gotta go pulled pork. Pulled pork is my favorite.
I'm a brisket girly.
I think I'm also going pulled pork. I love brisket, but you can mess up a brisket if you're not careful. It's very hard to do. I feel like if I go to a place and they don't even have good pulled pork, it tells me everything I need to know about everything else on the menu. I think the restaurant makes or breaks the pulled pork, because if you can't do that right, you're not doing brisket right. You're not doing the beef rib right. You're not cooking your ribs right. The pulled pork's going to make or break you, because most of the appetizers have some sort of pork in them. If I can't trust you to make pulled pork, I can't trust you to do anything else. All right, guys, that's going to wrap it up for a Monday edition of Off the Bench. Tomorrow, look, it's going to be more of the same. We're going to continue our preview of LSU football in the spring window. We'll talk some New Orleans Saints. We'll have Nick Underhill on in his normal spot. That's coming up on the Tuesday edition of Off the Bench.
Off the Bench.
Maybe somebody else needs to go to yourgoodwood.com and check out what they've got for you. Check out some tea situations and different things because, I don't know, don't love the energy coming out of some people there. Yourgoodwood.com. Click to schedule your appointment today online. Yourgoodwood.com.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.